wish they would do something with the lowering of the bridge thing. You know, like, show us the upper deck getting hit or something. Or, you know, they go out of combat, they raise the bridge back up, and oh god, this room is all fucked up. You know, do something with it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Gundam seed Destiny. Of course, we're doing the new layout, not the new layout, the new, like, it's a layout, it's the new ordering of things. Sorry, I'm just brain dead. A lot of things going through my head. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about the board, in which case there's no board to look at because nothing's really changed.
Nope.
I do have a board change log with 2 notes on it. A lot of race stuff still needs to be figured out before we can make those changes. Oh, sorry, there is one change, but I'm not going to bring up the board because it's like one line. I connected Atherin to Kira with a white line. Because in Seed, they have not been connected yet, and now they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that leads us into our notes, and this time I have more than you, so I guess I'll go first with probably the most inconsequential one of all. We have a new opening, so I'm doing my new opening breakdown, which is just talking about the things that happened in the opening. Sometimes they have things that I associate with them, sometimes it's just me saying what I see so that we have it verbally out there. We got Shin back-to-back with Atherin. Shin's outfit has the zaft logo on its upper left arm. Atherin's upper right arm is blank. In hindsight to this note, all zaft uniforms have a blank patch on their right, so it means nothing. Something I didn't realize until later, because I was like, ooh, wonder if that means something. Confusingly, everyone naked in the side of the screen. Shin, Atherin, Ramius, Mu or Rao. Rei, Stella, Lacus, Kira. Shin and Lunamaria walking away from a Gundam in a broken street as Vino and Yolant stand around next to it. Kigali standing around in her underwear and Admiral's jacket as Atherin walks away towards Savior. And a Zaku with, I think, Minerva in the sky above. Egyptian Rambo, Kigali's Season 1 bodyguard, is also in the shot. We haven't seen him in the show yet, so he's in the opening. The Archangel crew lined up on a cliffside as the Archangel lifts off beside them. Seems somewhat reminiscent of the time that they were paying their respects at Janus 7 in Season 1. Another shot of Durandal at the Coordinator Incubator place, with Neo and Rei in the foreground. Shocked Ramius and Neo in a shootout again as well. We got the Minerva bridge crew smiles at the camera. Transparent image of Lacus singing as a solid image of Mir plays with a red Haru. That seems from show evidence not to be Mr. Pink. Lunamaria looks downward at Shin as he regards his sister's phone. Mir launches herself at Atherin in a fun way. Sting, Stella, and Owl just hang around. Durandal and Talia reach out for one another. A shot that frames Atherin in the center has Marin leaning against his back while Mir leans against his chest, while Lunamaria and Kigali point guns. Clearly the harem and who is fighting for him, I guess. Everything was just individual shots of mobile suits that doesn't inform me very much, and that is the end of the opening. Clearly did not pick out much.
I guess the fact that everybody's naked is a sign of things are being laid bare, I guess.
Or sex cells.
That too, yeah. Now that we're past the halfway point of the series, and we're now getting into some of the mysteries, or answers, apparently, to some of the mysteries. So there's that. As for the rest, I mean, not really that different from what we've seen before, really. Yeah, because the rest of it is not that different from what we've seen in the other intros, so...
Well, no, there's a number of matching shots. We're not matching shots. The same shot from the last intro. So I just decided I was going to list everything instead of just the new stuff. So, you know, like the very beginning shot is new, but I don't know what it implies.
Yeah, and a new song as well. That much is we know. So I guess I'll go to my first note then, which is first note of chapter 25 or phase 25, the place of sin. And this is about when they're talking at the beach, you know. I get that Kira has his doubts, which I share, but Arthur is right. Without any real evidence or effective target, Kira and the crew of the Archangel are making things worse.
I feel like there's only so many points to notice in these episodes because we come up with the same things to talk about on our own, right? Yeah. So, weird. Kira's distrust of Durandal, without evidence, and spreading that distrust to all the people of the plants. I tried to quote Batman before, but I'll say it again. If we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty, and we have to destroy him. That is the absolutism I believe Kira to be employing here. Maybe not the destroying him degree, but certainly to the leveling accusations degree.
I think there's a difference there. I think that I see Kira doubting the information that he's being told by Atherin based on his own experiences. But Atherin is still making a good enough argument that later on we see that Kira's like, yeah, he has a point, right?
I have a whole lot more discussion about Kira and this whole thing later in my notes. It's just, that was my first thing, which is literally Kira's distrust and lack of evidence, which was basically what you just said. And it's literally my first note here as well, past the opening thing. So it's like, we're just taking the same notes again.
On to your next note then.
As much as I cracked on Kigali for the beach conversation last time, I can at least understand her emotionally. They give her all these slight movements and breath hitches to indicate her misunderstandings of the situation, and not from a political or strategic point of view. She clearly thought Atherin was showing up. She really thought Atherin showing up was him coming back to her. And his argument of what they have to do about the political situation, it's catching her off guard about what they are going to do with their personal situation. Granted, one is more important to the other for the world, but as people, I can understand her desire to be close to those that she loves. It is a shift from the character she was in season 1. The person that would focus on what needs to be done when presented with awkward social moments she had difficulty handling. By the way, hearing Atherin's lines to Kigali as she leaves are so much better in English. I know why you're worried. I can't believe you did this. You have no faith in me. Versus the Japanese translation of the sub. There are certain things I can understand, but cannot accept. You know what I mean. Really feels and reads differently to me. Like, the you have no faith in me is more directly to the point where you know what I mean is more of a you figure it out.
Oh, the way I did that line was going back to the whole marriage thing, because he knew that Kigali, had a fiance and still gave her the ring. It's like, I accepted the fact that you had a fiance. That doesn't mean I like it.
Here's the thing. I had to go back a couple of times to make sure I heard him right, saying, I know why you're worried. Because the scene right before he says it, he's looking at her ring. Right? And I thought for a second, oh, does he say, I know why you're wearing it? Because I know why you're wearing it. I can't believe you did this. You have no faith in me. Is also a read.
Yeah. But the way, and also it's like, Arthur saying, I have to also go with the evidence I have at hand. I cannot just abandon the plan.
Oh, you're talking about a different conversation. I'm talking about the emotional conversation.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I've got more about the political stuff later, and I'm sure you probably do too, so I think you should hold that until either you bring it up or I bring it up. I'm talking just about the emotion that she's feeling by him. You're leaving? You're not coming with us? That's all I'm focused on in this particular note.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why she would say that, and I can see why he was like, I can't. I'm sorry. I have things to do, right? You want me? Because they basically the whole thing is like, oh, you're gonna fight against Orb. We don't want you to fight against Orb. It's like, well, Orb is fighting against us. You know?
You just move on to your next note. Because you're bringing shit up
Yeah.
on my own future notes, and this isn't your note. So either you hit this
Yeah.
with your next note, or wait for one of us. Oh, whatever.
Yeah. Well, this is my second note. Arthur's idea that Kigali should go back to Orb seems like a good one, but unless she is willing to stage a coup or cause a civil war, I don't think it will work.
It's not a coup.
Well, it is if the Yuna and his father are already in power, right?
They're not, though. They're working off of her authority. He's acting representative. Well, technically, she's acting representative. I don't know. She has the authority. He doesn't. He's acting with her authority. He's doing the president's with surgery. I'm acting president until he wakes back up. That's what Yuna is
also
pulling
the
right
fact
now.
that he's also claiming that to be her husband and that she is a fake. So,
well, he pulled that on a battleground. He pulled the she's a fake on the battleground. I don't think that works when you can literally, okay, we're going to take her to the hospital, get DNA tested, right? I don't think that works in a non-combat situation. Also, I don't think the I'm her husband thing works, because he was pulling that as a, I know her better than anybody, I'm her husband. Not a, I have hereditary line to the throne, I'm her husband. That's not what he was pulling there.
But I think there's people who are loyal to his position, and I think they're going to fight back either way. So, yeah, it's going to be a mess.
Oh, that's up to them to decide.
Yeah, well,
I don't think, I'm saying I don't take it as a given. I take it as a what develops.
Yeah. I think it's more likely than not. And if she's not willing to do that, which seems to be the thing, that she's not willing to fight against her own people, at least some of them, even if it's Yuna, then, that seems to be the big stumbling block. I don't want people from Orb to get killed or hurt, but I need to do this. The moment someone goes like, oh, no, I'm going to point a gun at you and I'm not going to let you do this, either she shoots them or she fails. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
To your next point.
Kira's questioned Athrun if he was returning to Zaft to continue to fight the Alliance, shifting it to asking if he would continue to fight Orb, is so stupid. The lead up to that question was Athrun telling them to go back to Orb and breaking the treaty with the Alliance while they still could. If they go and do that, then Orb wouldn't be present at fights between Zaft and the Alliance, and then Athrun wouldn't be fighting Orb. The Alliance might attack Orb, but that wouldn't have anything to do with Athrun as a member of Zaft. Kira is clearly trying to guilt trip and manipulate Athrun, ignoring Athrun's own point about what needs to be done. He even says, but even with the way things are right now, we don't want you to hurt Orb, implying that despite Orb going on the offensive against Zaft as an allied member of the Alliance, Kira would rather defend Orb than side with the people being hurt by that alliance. I certainly hate the final, I don't want to fight you, please don't make me do it, which is Kira inverting Athrun's previous take that he doesn't get to choose who and where he fights, except that Athrun is a member of an organization waging an effort across space and the globe, in places they are asked to be and where people want their help. Kira's take is more of a threat to stop violence with violence as it regards to Orb.
It might be a situation where the more Orb gets involved, even if he stops, or joining the alliance, doesn't mean that staff won't still be their enemy, right?
They will, because they won't be. Zaft is focused on the efforts across the globe. And again, like I specifically said, where they're called to be. But they're also acting against threats against them, which are alliance threats. If Orb isn't present in the fight and backs out of the treaty, they aren't going to be attacking Orb.
I don't think it's going to be. And also, I think it's
Again, that
Kira
has
saying,
we have a real focus problem. I feel like is that you're dragging the political situation of what the war would be like if Orb is taken out of the fight and still gets attacked by Zaft for some reason. Whereas my focus herein is the manipulation emotionally and I don't know, many different levels of his friend to try and make him not fight the fight.
I think also the fact that he doesn't trust Durandal and feels that the best way would be to have his friend by his side.
Again,
like,
that's a different
put it
discussion,
together.
though, because we've
Yeah.
already covered that discussion. That Kira's distrust is making him just say random weird ass shit and not listen to his friend. Atherin goes point by point about why you need to break the alliance with Orb. I mean, with the alliance. The alliance with the alliance is such a fucking statement. Why you need to break this.
Federation.
And then Kira shoots back with, I will defend Orb even against you, ignoring all statements. He's manipulating for his own cause and ignoring evidence presented to him to the contrary.
That was your point. Let's do my next point then. And this goes to the Rey, flashback.
It's funny
And this
because
is a
my
big-
next note is literally about Rey as well. Again, we just write the same notes point for point.
I could be wrong, but the man talking to Randall during Rey's flashback is wearing a Zaft uniform. Looks like an older Rey. Would that make Rey a clone of this man? And how long ago was this? Say that the average character age in the series is 17. Flashback Rey doesn't look older than 10, 11 at most. So it can be as little as 6 years and as much as 10. The scene might also explain why Rey sees Durandal as a father figure. Rey also shares the hair color and style, the elder Rey, I suppose, with Neo.
Again, we write the same notes. Well, technically, my next note wasn't that one, but I'll read my next note because it's literally addressing what you're talking about, so we might as well get both things covered before we get into discussing them. As for Rey's memories, he's wearing a full child suit and is standing next to the right hand of a man in a Zaft uniform. Durandal is talking to that man, who is smiling. Durandal looks surprised, but then smiles down at Rey. My best guess is that this is Rao, and Rey is his clone with one of two possibilities. Durandal is surprised, given his DNA expertise, that Rao would do this, and that Rey has the same problem that Rao had, that he's aging faster, and that this flashback isn't actually from all that long ago, that this is a secret that Durandal is keeping on Rey's behalf. It's the reason he didn't assign Rey to the Impulse. It's also why Rey doesn't go out when everyone else does. He's taking his drugs, he's coming down from the strain of it all. Or 2, Durandal helped make a clone of Rao and raise that clone, except that he doesn't have the Xerix problem and is an improved version of the original, a full perfect seed like Kira. That's why he's so excited whenever he sees Durandal, as he's essentially the surviving one of his two dads. Hell, maybe Talia was the original womb he was birthed from before being transferred into the artificial chambers.
That would be interesting and would explain why she has this seemingly connection with Rey as well, the way they kind of... The three of them act around each other, right?
Yeah. Talia is his surrogate mother. Durandal is... I mean, the conversation, I think... I don't remember if we had it. I remember having it. What responsibility do you have as a parent, or what garners you the responsibility of a parent in so facto Hibiki to say Kigali or Kira?
Yeah.
In that he might not have, he did all the work. He didn't donate any genetic material, but he was the womb, so to speak. Maybe not for Kigali, for Kira. He ran the womb. He did all the scientific shit. He made sure that you were born the correct way. had basically a hand in everything. So why not is he a parent? In that way, I would say Durandal would be a parent, except that possibly may have raised Rey once Rao died.
This is your next point then.
Well, actually, I'm falling backwards on a point because you skipped over one that I made because you went right to his flashback. So did Rey have a breakdown because what he saw was so horrific? Because it was horrible, according to everything we've seen and how all the characters described the insides of the labs. Or was Rey triggered in the same way that Owl and Stella were, just minus the keyword element? As it seems like Rey reacted before Shin said anything specific to him. It does seem like he had his memory triggered by it, given the flashes we've seen soon after, but I'm not sure if those were our memories he's just now remembering, or if they are just flashes to let us know in the audience what he knows.
Well, I think it's Arthur who says, yeah, these things are horrible, but it doesn't explain Rey's reaction. They literally mention Rey by name, like, oh, he reacted in a very specific way.
Well, everyone acts different. Even Arthur, later in the episode, is like, looks at, oh, even you take Arthur as his word, but Arthur, our jokey character in the background, also can't handle it.
Yeah, but he actually was looking at a readout. He was working on something and talking to somebody else. It was like, yeah, it doesn't explain why Rey acted in a very specific way. Which
Arthur could just be like, Rey is a professional. Why would he,
Yeah. So my next point then, talking about the experiments. It seems that the children were also clones, or maybe a combination of children kidnapped from other places, as well as clones, or a combination of programs with either the dead kept in vats for future dissection, or as a storage method between training sessions. And I'll say 2 notes because the second note goes into whether these kids actually were kidnapped. Names on the computer screen: Huter, Schmidt, Stephen Hilbert, and Gillian. So at least some of them were not clones. That's all.
I wouldn't take the names on the computer to mean anything. Because one shot looks over. I tried to figure out the names thing too. One shot you look over her head and it's one name, and then they zoom in on it and the name changes. And it's not like a scrolling name, like, oh, they just changed screens, because everything else is the same. The name changes as soon as they scroll inwards, as though it's 2 different shots. So I think it's just one of those, they're not paying attention to what's on the screen as much. I don't know about the kidnapping thing. I could lean into the cloning thing. And I don't think those are like section pods. I think those are probably just open vats, like the ones we saw in Space in season movies. I think they're just open. By open, I mean visible, that we're allowed to see on the inside rather than being enclosed.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm saying that basically they could have been storage. Like, oh, it's easier to store these people in these vats between sessions. Or they could be where they grow them. There could be a storage method, or it could be, oh, we have all these bodies because they also have all those brains. So I take it that they were dissecting the brains and studied them for those that failed, right?
I know the fact that they have wires still in them, and the kids still have wires in them. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
Look, I wrote a lot of crazy theories here, and we've only touched on the one with the Rey Durandal thing. But I don't have anything written down for that.
To your next point, because I did too. Back to back.
Just a side thought to maybe shit on my theories from a second ago, but saying it to cover all my bases, the figure in the Zaft uniform that we saw, we only see from the right-hand side. The person in the opening has their scarring on the left-hand side. If this isn't Rao from the past, there does exist the possibility, if that is Mu in the opening, that this is actually Mu as well, maybe rescued by Zaft and thus the uniform. No clue why Rey would have anything to do with the surviving Mu, though.
I mean, that's as much speculation as anything else. So
it's all speculation. Yeah. That's all guesses. I got nothing but guesses in here. It's conspiracy theories all the way down.
My next point, which is when it's about the.
Let me guess. Let me guess. Since we've been point for point almost, is it about the extendeds and the dates?
Yes.
Boom! I'm here with you.
Not the dates. It's actually a question.
Oh, I got numbers and dates.
Yeah, the face looks familiar, but again, seed does suffer a bit from the same face syndrome because it's like that becomes the sort of the focus of the three of them. Mother. Well, two of them actually. Like, oh, we got to go back to protect Mother, and we see a face, but who is it? You know.
Sorry, I think I have a note about possibly. You know, I'm just gonna leave that as a question because I can't figure out where my own note about that is. I have a future note about Mother as well, but. Because sometimes I write this while I'm thinking about it or when I'm watching it, and then sometimes I just write notes while I'm just thinking about it. So, that all you got on about Mother?
That's all I got about Mother.
Okay. This one is just going off of what Talia is saying when she's going over the monitor in the same shot that you were talking about the names.
Mm-hmm.
Year 64, July, 11 rejected, 3 admitted. August, 7 rejected, 5 admitted. The war took place in CE 70. It is currently CE 73. If admitted in this context means accepted, that would mean 8 total extended were made available from this location. If we assume that it is the only lab that the Alliance used, we could eliminate all the extendeds we know that have existed. Clotho, Bearer, Shani Andrus, Orga, Sabnak. Those are all the ones from Season 1. All dead. Stella Lucier, Owl Nader, Sting Oakley, all from Season 2. That's 6, leaving 2 left. Even if I were to stretch and say that somehow maybe Ray comes from here, which I don't think is the case, just to be clear, that'd still leave 1 remaining that we have no idea about. So conceivably, 2 extendeds are out there. Maybe Ray's one, which would bring us down to 1, but, you know, just keep an open mind, I guess, about the fact that there could still be 2 extendeds in play. Which actually...
I didn't write a note. I didn't write a note about this, but when they're marking the names and they talk about the extended, we have Arthur has a memory of fighting them, and we see one of the faces. I don't know if he recognized the face, because I don't think they ever saw each other face to face, but he does recognize at least a fight. You know, I guess it's just
that's why I brought up the list, because the 3 again I listed are the face that he remembers is one of the 3 I mentioned. I think it was Clotho, but you know, even in the flashback, I think it's for the audience because the flashback is from inside the Gundam, which he wouldn't have seen.
Yeah.
But I do have a future note about the possibility of one of those unknown extendeds, but that's actually in my end credits breakdown, which I also have.
So my last note for Places of Sin. It's interesting that Stella, instead of shutting down when she heard the word die, or something to that effect, which tends to lock her down, she instead thought of protecting and kept thinking of Chen. Which, you know, we have flashbacks of her thinking about, you know, she was rescued and all that, and she's like, I gotta go and grab the Gaia and fight, right? So
I think that's one of my notes. Stella clearly remembers Shin. We saw her have a flashback to him when she came up with protecting Mother. What's the thing you're talking about? Mm-hmm. It's more than likely that it's what I said before, that she's instinctually remembering him and the feeling that she felt about what they said, and not actually the facts of what he said or what happened. So that's why she said that she didn't know him or his name. She doesn't really. Well, up until the end of the episode anyway. Guess she powered through that and got his name at least.
Yeah, so we're in the same page there. Or close to it.
I'm sending you a screenshot. Hopefully future me remembers to include. Yeah,
okay.
I don't know if you're going to have any luck. You were already wearing glasses. I think I'm aided by the fact that I need glasses. So the blurriness just adds to mine.
The only thing I can read is plant.
When the
Plant
screen
twice.
zooms in on Clotho's headshot, the text beneath it is super blurry, but not
Yeah.
unreadable. Sadly, the text under the next window over is exactly the same, meaning it's a cut and paste, so it might not actually be super important. What I could make out of it was, for a brief, glamorous, almost Olympian moment, it appears that the presidency itself would serve as the campaign. Rather, had a plant, which is the part you saw, president, word, of word, in the summer and fall of CE 70. More words I couldn't make out. In the aftermath of the Plant Earth War had reached unreadable number %, unheard of for any sitting president.
That would be the North American president, I guess.
Or Durandal. I mean, I have no idea. Could be.
I mean, Durandal was a chairman, so I don't know if
yeah, it could be. What's his name?
Yeah,
I've already forgotten his name. I don't have the board up. Comp
Yeah.
Baker or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Copeland.
Yeah.
Copeland was his name.
Copeland, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be. We don't know how long Copeland's been in office, because this actually refers to CE 70, which is the 11-month war to the 14, 18-month war.
Yeah.
But yeah, it talks about presidency, it talks about the Plant Earth War. It seems to be more than just a cut and paste of something other, like Seed has done so many times in the past. But the fact that they put it in such a almost illegible text.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I copy and pasted, and I'm doing this, and that looks like the word Olympian. I did my typical Google search to see, is it just cutting something else out? Nope. Mm-hmm. Nothing matches this, and the fact that, again, it talks about Gundam seed-related materials.
Okay, to my first point. First point is 3 out of the Promise, Chapter 26, or Phase 26. And these are pretty chunky. They're 3, but they're pretty chunky. I get that Shin violated regs, but Stella could be a valuable asset, or at least a prisoner of war. Unless doctors work on the different rules in the Seed universe, their first mission is to save lives, even those of the enemy. And Minerva's medbay was the closest to the crash site, so it makes sense to take her there. His mistake, from my point of view, was not informing anyone else of what he was doing. And therefore, he took the initiative, but he should have said, I'm coming in with a prisoner or something. I mean,
I would agree on the warning people, but we also don't know for certain that it was the closest place to the Minerva. They remember, because they detected them at range, they went to intercept them before they got to the Minerva. We don't know the area. There could be a civilian hospital closer to the point that they got intercepted at. Yeah,
but it looks like it was forest, and then the base.
Cool, there's plenty of forests where I live. I don't know what you're indicating
we don't
here.
We don't see any other buildings,
Yeah, we also don't look in all 360 directions.
Also, you want to put her in a civilian... If she's a prisoner of war, you don't put her in a civilian hospital because she could escape from the civilian hospital, right?
I mean, that's what you're indicating, but apparently what the show is indicating is that you don't bring her to a military hospital either without prior approval. That's what I'm saying is, you can disagree all you want. We live in the world of the show. So, if the show says something is true, disregard actual reality. Substitute their own?
I guess, yeah.
The inverse of the Adam Savage line. I'm just saying.
It's the fact that Gladys has to read him the riot act because he still acted on his own,
Well, I mean, you got to remember season 1 where Kira basically gets court-martialed for letting, what was it, Lacus go? I can't remember. Yeah, I think, no, it was either that or it was the British thing. I can't remember. But basically, they've done this before. We're just we're retreading old ground.
Yeah. Yeah, he got read the riot act, basically. That's what happened, right? And that was the extent of it. Because at the end of the day, she's too valuable. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you remember season 1, Shin, basically, this would be a death sentence. Thankfully, we're not doing that right now. But keep that in mind if you try this shit again.
Go ahead.
Just another brain vomit idea. Probably completely untrue, but I just want to cover all of my bases here by saying any insane thing that comes to me. Owl was triggered by the word mother, claimed mother was at the base, had a vision of her, etc. Stella gets triggered by the word die, but rushes out and even mentions that she'll protect Mother. So it seems like, independently, all the admitted extendeds have this protect Mother thing hardwired in. Building on my previous, and to be clear, probably untrue theory that Rey might be an extended, what if Talia is said Mother? It's been a while since these extended have been to the facility. Talia could have left, been promoted in Zaft, etc. It also fits neatly into our thinking of Talia as Rey's mom from before. Like I said, it's just an out there thought that I wanted to get on the record, just in case.
Well, she doesn't act like she remembers it or is keeping a secret, right?
Oh, you missed a Durandal moment with her. They're at the facility, and right before we go to like a fade to black as we transition scenes, the screen just goes right on her face, and she looks off to the side. Plus, all the scenes we've gotten before of her just being alone, staring off into the darkness, or when a storm is going off in the window in front of her. She's going through some shit. Something's happening behind those eyes.
I mean, we know that she has a close relationship with Durandal,
who's apparently involved with Rey in this. Something's going on. He's not separate from the cloning shit, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're going to get Durandal on like 5 times he grinned, they gave us one with Talia.
Now, my second note, and this goes to Lacus, because these two are basically about Lacus' escape or going to the plants. I don't know what Lacus' real plan is. Does she really have any connections left in the plants? Probably. Will Durandal accept her presence there? He has to know that she's coming considering the ruckus they made leaving Earth plus a stolen shuttle. I think that in the end, Lacus is the same position as Kigali. She can attempt some kind of coup or start a civil war on the plants right at the moment when Zaft has the Federation on the back foot. Or she's going to get arrested and thrown into, or killed or arrested.
I mean, I don't think she's going to start a coup. One, that's not her goal. She's already stated that.
But if she wants to do something about what's going on in the plants, if it's nefarious and she doesn't agree with it, then
they don't have any fucking power. You can't do anything about that. The best she can do is do something about Mirror. Like, I'm the real Lacus. That's what she's going to do. She doesn't have any rank or authority. There's no coup involved here. I don't think people might get really upset if you faked a Lacus. Like, what the fuck, man? What, you Milli Vanilli'd us?
I mean,
like, what are you doing?
She is Lacus Klein, so she still has that connection.
Siegel Klein was an elected figure. He wasn't. This isn't like Kigali, where it seems to have passed down a bloodline. He was an elected. It's like the president's daughter showing up. It's like, cool. So what?
Well, but she had. I mean, if she is now, we talk about power. If she's worth enough to be essentially cloned by me, by Mir, so that, and literally Durandal says she has the power I don't have. That's why I did this. So she's admitted that she is a force in this society.
She's an influence. She's not a power. Again, it's like dressing up like Elvis the day after you found out Elvis was dead. Or I guess it'd be like finding Elvis dead in the bathroom. And then, like, well, I better take all of his clothes. I think I can make something out of this. You know,
but Elvis didn't fight in a battle that saved humanity on both sides. Well,
not a big opinion about Vietnam, huh?
Yeah,
but he didn't. I know. I'm just joking. I'm just saying. Well, technically, she was just on the bridge. I'm just saying.
And took command of the ship, and she was giving orders, and he was the leader of the 3-ship alliance. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying that you're attributing a lot to her when it's more Athrun and Kira who are like blowing all the nukes out of space and actively fighting everything.
I'm attributing what the show has attributed, both Durandal's actions by cloning her essentially, and the fact that she had to be someone, whether it was Durandal's or a third party, thought that she was dangerous enough that she needed to be assassinated.
Right, but you're treating her like Kigali, and she's not. Kigali has the power of authority, a nation behind her. She is in the role of the representative because apparently it's hereditary. She is the former daughter. Technically, she's former daughter. Sorry, he's dead. She is the daughter of a former elected leader. That gives her no power whatsoever. People like her as an idol. That is her power of influence, and that's all she's got. Now, if she said, "Hey, don't elect Durandal next time," people might listen to her. Although the last election cycle doesn't seem to have proposed that as a true thing. Taylor Swift. Anyway, yeah, real world examples. Sometimes they aren't from 100 years ago. I'm just saying she doesn't have the power you're attributing to her.
Oh, in which case means her plan is even weaker than.
Oh yeah, no, it's a shit plan.
Yeah,
it's worse than Atherin's from season 1. I'm just gonna Atherin at least said, "I'm just gonna go talk to my dad." He hadn't been accused of anything until he actually went there. This is literally, as you brought up, they got attacked at the airport and are now in the air.
My guess is they'll probably go to Luna first and try to smuggle themselves into a plant or something.
Oh no, they're going directly to the plant. It's stupid all the way.
Yeah, there's going to be people waiting for.
Oh, don't worry, I'm not done with conspiracy theories. I have a conspiracy theory about this too, which also makes no sense. I sat there for a second, this is pretty dumb. This, in fact, I see the bullet holes in this theory. I'm gonna keep it though.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I'm still not done with Stella and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I don't know if they've done it before and I missed it, but I appreciate that when Shin is holding Stella just outside her cockpit, he not only flashes back to when they first met, but also to his sister's dead body. It's good to see how he is associating Stella in his mind with someone that he failed to protect before, as it shows how he is going to treat this moving forwards.
I mean, there's a part where he's creating her face and it's like, You were the pilot of the Gaia all this time. I didn't know, right?
Well, that's after the fact. I'm talking about when he first pulls her out of the cockpit.
I know. But the fact that he's rethinking his, I gotta kill them all because they're the enemy kind of thing. Now he's met the face of the enemy, and the enemy appears to be victims of the Earth Federation. More importantly, Blue Cosmos, right? People who have been brainwashed or toyed with, right? And he doesn't have this sort of overwhelming hatred that you would think. It kind of reminds me of that first scene when he shows up. It's like, are you crazy? You want to start this war again, right? And we kind of dismissed that Shin. That Shin disappeared very quickly into, I'm just going to kill whoever I fight. And then we get to this one, is like, damn it, I'm not a murderer. I just try to defend people. That's why I'm here, right?
I think that Shin is still all entirely there. That shit didn't go away at all. It's just that he's been dealing with situations that aren't what he was dealing. When we were bringing up that Shin, he was dealing with Kigali and the shit that she was saying about Orb and what Zaft should do. That Shin hasn't gone away. He just hasn't had that trigger word come up. Plus, he already had that version of Atherin, that you're doing all this because you actually love Orb. Isn't that right?
My final point, this goes to Mir in that final scene. And you're gonna hate this, but I'm gonna say it anyway, because you don't like Lacus and I don't like Mir so far. Mir hasn't done anything to redeem.
We're like mirror images of each other.
Yeah. Mir comes out as being very conceited when she gets off the pink limo. Also, for someone who claims to have such a high admiration for the real Lacus, Mir doesn't bat an eye at the possibility of the shuttle being blown out of the sky, even after hearing from her manager that it's the real Lacus. Mir is only shocked that the Freedom appears and turns the tables on the SAF mobile suits.
Yeah, no, I was going to write a note about that, but I chose not to because, I don't know, I just chose not to. It's Mir is obviously grown accustomed to the life of which she's living, and she's upset at any change about it. So that's her whole, why isn't everyone here to greet me? Oh, why aren't they, she is, again, she's grown accustomed to the life she's living.
Yeah, but someone's like, I'm just doing this. I know it's temporary. And all of a sudden it's like, why you people are not doing that? And she's watching.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's grown accustomed to it. The mirror that you're bringing up from the dinner with Atherin is, this is fun. This is, just the start of it. Now she's on what they described before in was it a news article or something? She's on her worldwide tour. She's getting to see the world. She sees how much adoration people are pouring on her. She's becoming used to this. She is before. She's probably post first commercial credit of VH1 behind the music. She's starting to get. Well, I mean, to be fair, it depends on how far it goes. I learned everything about the first half from MC Hammer behind the music, and I bought all these gold shoes. Nothing bad's gonna happen.
No,
but no, I'm saying that depends on how far you go. Because sometimes they had comeback stories and all that. That she is on the disastrous path of stardom and fame, but it doesn't mean that's where it's going to end up.
Well, those are my notes.
Well, I'm not even close to done.
Yeah.
So when the doctor says he found substances not normally found in the human body, the readout focuses on two specific names/chemical models. Dihydrocodeine, but seem obvious from the name, an opioid analgesic used to treat moderate to severe pain, severe dyspepsia, and cough. Fits for all the pain it looked like in Season 1 extendeds were going through. And enkephalin. Curiously, the second chemical is 2 letters off from being another form of pain reliever. Enkephalin, which is a pentapeptide that binds the same receptors that morphine would, so good for blocking the transmission of pain signals. However, that is not what is on the paper. The interesting thing to me is that while trying to figure out what the chemical could be or do, I came across Volume 272, Issue 15 of the 1997 edition of the Journal of Biological Chemistry, an article titled Cloning and Functional Expression of Brain Peptide/Histidine Transporter, which discussed the cloning of the above in essentially rat brains and retina. Enkephalin is listed as not inhibiting the transportation of peptides and histidines.
So it could be like assimilation drugs of some sort, perhaps?
I don't know. Like I said, either they just misspelled an actual drug, and they were doubling down on pain reliever because that's what the original extendeds had to do, all their pain medicines. Or this is, again, I just found it super interesting because if you look up the drug, there's no description of what it does. Even Google's AI doesn't guess at it. It redirects you to the pain reliever one. But there are articles, again, this Journal of Biological Chemistry, about cloning. It's like, we are guessing that these are clones. This came out in 1997. The anime came out, maybe 10 years after that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they got the idea from there?
Somebody was doing clone research to get some ideas for this and stumble across that.
By the way, the whole conversation on the beach with Athrun telling them multiple times to go back to Orb and break the alliance with the Alliance amounted to the
Federation.
Well, no, it's the Alliance.
Oh, yeah.
You're doing the thing again like yesterday when we recorded and you called it the Archangel instead of White Base.
Yeah, White Base.
The Alliance amounted... Sorry. When he tells them multiple times to go back to Orb and break the alliance with the Alliance, all right, I wasn't hesitating here. I actually wrote it in to hesitate. The alliance with ellipses, the Alliance amounted to the Archangel sitting on the bottom of the ocean, and then Lacus going to the plants. They brushed off Athrun's words completely.
Or, I think not. I think it's order of operations. Like, Lacus wants to do this, and they're considering what to do next. And they're like, Lacus, while you're considering this, I'm going to go to the plants. And you're like, okay, sure.
It doesn't read to me as any attempt is being made to get to Orb. They're sitting on the bottom of the ocean. They're not on their way there, and we're thinking about what to do on the way. Earth sure is beautiful. Look at the bottom of the ocean. One of the teams that was launched to catch Lacus's shuttle before it got away was the Alistair team, as in Flay Alistair. Also, they can name people. The idea was, I don't think it came up in our discussions when we were watching the movie. The idea that Flay Alistair comes from an influential family. Obviously, her dad was a Minister of Defense, something like that.
In the Earth Federation.
Yeah.
So why would a zaft unit be named after the Earth Federation Defense
Maybe
Minister?
he donated a lot of money. I don't know.
To zaft?
Yeah, I think there was a discussion in season 1 about what's the word I'm looking for? I might be actually wrong. I might be thinking about season 2. What I'm about to say, not reparations. Things paid to end a war by well, no,
yeah.
I don't think it's reparations. That's not what I talked about. I said not reparations because it's a different word. I'm not talking about paid to at the end of the war for what you've done. It's not coming to me. Also, I might be thinking of season 2 as well. So, anyway, I don't know. Why is the name Alistair there at all? Then we had a major character named Flay Alistair.
Could be a reuse of a name.
Yeah, that barely happens. We went to 159 characters in Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam 1979, and they reused 2 names. Yeah, that doesn't seem like anyway. I'm just throwing it out there. Flay Alistair. Alistair was her last name. Also, Bobby, the guy I included on the board last time, BABI, was on the Gavin team chasing after Lacus. All these team names are likely references that I don't get. I mean, I Googled them without knowing the intent. Almost any name could be linked to Gundam over the last 46 years.
Yeah.
Gavin, I believe, is the first name of the guy who worked on Gundam. Sorry, now is where I get mixed up with Metal Gear Solid. Revengeance? What is the new thing? Requiem for Revenge, or whatever it is.
For me.
Whatever it's called. Anyway, the first name of that. Also, there's also obviously a character named Gavin, and somewhere in Gundam's history. Same thing for McLean, or whatever it was, the last team that launches. There's apparently a McLean in Turn A or V. Sorry, sometimes if I don't remember it correctly, Victory Gundam, the V symbol, could also just be Turn A without the line in the middle. Maybe I don't remember if there's a line there. So yeah, I think those are all just references. I'm sure people will tell us. Because apparently Josh A is also referenced in... Josh A from Alaska is also referenced in Gundam 00, which comes right afterward. People were telling us about that before. Oh, here's the stupid theory that I'm decided to keep in here anyway. I joked about it last episode, I think, but what if Waltfeld did get revenge on Kira by not protecting Lacus and taking her captive now that she is essentially alone on the way to the plants? Something I think I only brought up to you during our watch the movies was a scene between Waltfield and Patrick. It was the first indication that Waltfield was still alive after his fight in the desert and didn't really show him. Just like a Dr. Claw shot, Inspector Gadget, if you don't get that reference, of the back of his seat as he talked to Patrick. But a picture of his dead girlfriend was on the desk as well to indicate that it was him. In that scene, he's telling Patrick that he'd do anything in his power to thank him for saving his life. What if Waltfield had his memories altered or his brain messed with? I mean, that scene has been just a hanging thread in my mind this whole time. It's never been resolved. Waltfield never encounters or talks to Patrick again after that, and almost immediately betrays Zaft. Every so often I think about a way that Waltfield could live up to that.
Oh, we are going to go into episode 27? Probably we're going to find out.
Well, I mean, I told you before, there's giant holes in that theory. Like, he could have done anything at any time. Why now? And for who? Patrick's dead.
Yeah, he could have just killed all of them while they were being attacked, right?
That's what I'm saying. There's giant holes all over the place, but the fact that he says that in a conversation to Patrick, and then immediately betrays everybody. And it's like, well, the dude did save your life. That's true. It's like,
But we don't know
why?
how exactly he saved his life.
That's what I'm saying. It's a giant hanging thread. Wildfield
Yeah.
just comes back, and the introduction to that is him thanking Patrick for saving his life. So you instantly betrayed him for it? I think, why? What?
No.
All right, and my last one here, the new ending breakdown. In a grassy field, we've got the old Rao Lucrest team rushing up on Atherin, including the dead Nicole, and Shiho Hoffenfoss, a character we saw in the first season all of one time. In fact, I don't even know if you saw them, because it might have been in a scene that got cut. But I guess technically they were in the group in that scene. It's I think Flay is standing in the background in her green Zaft uniform, and it's like the remaining members of the Crescent team are just in a room talking. I don't think Shiho even gets a voice line, but they're there. Also, Mir is on Atherin's arm as well in that same shot. In the background of that is Heine, and I want to guess Miguel from the first couple of season 1 episodes, because he's one of the people that dies at Heliopolis. Escaped me my mind for a second. Next is Rao, standing right next to Ray, I guess making me think some of my previous guesses are all that much more true. Ray also seems to be looking down at Durandal and Talia, who are holding each other beneath a tree. Arthur watching the Hawk sisters run around. I have no idea what that means or implies, as Arthur has been a bit of a joke character so far, with no indication of any relationship pairings. I mean, could be Arthur Hawk, could be their dad for all I know.
Doesn't seem that way unless he's really a joke character. He's never actually talked to her daughter like, behave yourself.
I mean, he's on the bridge. He's always talking to Mayron. Of course, Waltfield is in the back with Aisha and DaCosta. Then on the beach, we've got Ramius and Moo holding each other with Bad Girl nearby. Hall leaning on a tree looking at Shin and Mayu running by. In the far back, we have the original 3 extendeds, Clotho, Shani, and Orga, with a 4th person we've never seen before, I don't think, which goes towards the math I mentioned earlier about how many more extendeds are out there. So that person, this might be the hint of an extended from that time period coming back here. Although, again, the math is there 2's missing. And again, I don't think that Ray is one, but they're only showing us one in the outro. We've got Kigali in a wedding dress, but with nobody with her. Owl chasing Stella in the water in the background. By the way, I don't think I saw Sting anywhere in the any of those shots. Even dead people are showing up in those shots. I don't think I saw Sting. Flay looking on as Kira and Lacus walk the beach. Then the group shots start. Luna Maria, Shin and Stella, Mir, Atherin and Kigali, Chandra, Bad Girl, Moo, Ramius, and Arnold. Kira and Lacus, Ray, Luna Maria, Atherin, and Shin. And then lastly, it's Haw, Ramius, Kigali, Kira, and Lacus, all in orb uniforms.
Oh, man. It just seems like a dream sequence of some sort, because all the people that are supposed to be dead.
Well, I assume it's a perfect world sequence, except it's not exactly a perfect world, because they're all still in military uniforms. So we acknowledge that in a perfect world, we still have to fight, but maybe we didn't kill each other. And again,
so there you have it.
Didn't pick out Sting unless the person I didn't know. Well, yeah, unless Sting was with the original 3 for some reason. Because he's the only one that's not set off by the mother thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like him, because he always wears those weird open shirts, and the hair wasn't the same. Because it was like real thick, like white hair. Sting doesn't have white hair.
Owl has grayish, bluish hair. But he's the shortest of the 3.
Well, again, he's already in the shot, though. He's chasing Stella in the water in the background.
Yeah.
I guess there's a possibility that Sting could have just been behind Kigali or something, but I don't know why you would do that in a shot that you were creating. So, I don't know, maybe Sting's not real. figment of the other two who were in that facility. No, but they show him in the facility in the flashbacks.
Yeah, call the police. Sting is not real.
He's not a member of the police
Okay.
anymore. He's long not been a
I
member of the
know.
police.
Yeah, I know.
Probably for watching you. It's also ironic.
I'm not
Because one
gonna-
of those drugs that I listed deals with shortness of breath.
Mhm.
Because he's watching every breath you take.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it
regret
didn't
it.
come up with you. You didn't do the research on trying to figure out these chemicals and what they do by another blurry image.
Yeah.
I spent this morning looking at blurry images trying to figure out what they mean.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right, just making sure. I mean, a lot of thoughts. I guess let's go ahead and hop on into the episode then. No, wait, sorry. We've got comment section.
Comments.
Well, you didn't remind me either.
No.
I legit closed the
admit that.
windows. Let me reopen that. All right. So we have comments. Let's go through those since we can eliminate the ones that already cover shit that we just talked about. Fenrir756 from the Patreon, the Palace of Sin. I did not expect a lot of Theta's comments this episode, especially in regards to Kira, but he's my favorite seed character, so my bias may affect my responses below. Mu's title in Season 1 was the Hawk of Endymion, which he received for shooting down 5 Djinns in a single battle, another Char reference, which I brought up in Season 1 because, Char's thing comes from the Battle of Loom, which is basically he shoots down 5 battleships, I think.
Yeah.
When the Archangel shot its Gottfried beams across the Minerva's bow, that was to prevent a flight of Orb Marusume mobile suits from attacking the Minerva and force them off their attack run.
Okay.
Orb built the Strike Rogue for Kigali from scratch, and Orb's technology was used in the construction of the original 5 Gundams at Heliopolis.
Which means they did, in fact, have and continue to have Gundam building technology, but for some reason choose not to do so.
Arguable about the continued ability to do so. Because if they built them at Heliopolis, there ain't no Heliopolis. Morgenroth might not have the ability to do so at their primary location, or if Morgenroth got blown up, I think. So,
Yeah.
Despite Asriel's desire to not have it be. Everything we've seen of the Earth forces and Destiny so far has been from the perspective of the Atlantic Federation forces.
Yes.
Incorrect. Well, Earth forces now also has Orb. So those shots on the Orb carrier are technically of the Earth forces so far. Technically incorrect. The best kind of correct. I was going to continue, but you're making the face, so I don't know what to go from here.
I mean, you said technically incorrect.
I said technically is correct. I understand what you're getting at because I hear it all the time while I'm doing the editing, where I've said something, but I blur words together, so it sounds wrong.
Okay.
I think I told you about this before, where I was talking about if the leaders of alliance nations left the alliance, that the alliance wouldn't exist, and you'd just be dealing with North America. And now I'm listening to it in the edit, and it sounds like I said something about killing the leaders of the world countries. It's like, that is completely the opposite of what I was talking about.
Yeah.
So, I can hear you when you're saying, that's not what I heard you say. I hear myself saying the words that I mean to say. Now go in the recording. Same thing with you. Again, I'm not bringing this up to mock you again, but when you said Archangel yesterday, and we both understood you meant white base to the point where I didn't even correct you because I didn't even hear you saying it until I was going into the edit. We just knew what we meant to be said. Seed mode isn't a state of Zen where one's emotions are completely now I'm just choking up. Seed mode isn't a state of Zen where one's emotions are completely suppressed, but is instead a state of heightened awareness where one can use their physical abilities to their maximum limit. There have been examples of people being enraged in seed mode besides Shin. When Kira and Atherin tried to kill each other, and when Kira fought Rowler Crest. By the way, his name is Cressette. I've said Crest like every time.
Yeah, Cressette. Croissant.
Well, no, it's as a response to something you've said.
Okay. Yeah, no, just messing with you.
No. The seed. We discussed before, or I brought up how cold and uncaring Kira seemed to have been during a conversation, and you brought up that in seed mode, he might have been suppressing his emotions or something. So this is a comment directed at you.
Yeah. No. Well, he was kind of pissed off, but then the battle ended up so he didn't attack the orb. Well, okay, my comment was he seemed to be pissed off, and he destroyed 11 ships, I think it was.
No. This is the comment we were talking about when I was talking about Kira on the beach. You know how this episode last episode? One of the episodes started with the conversation on the beach, and the comment I made was about the previous episode, which ended kind of it. And Kira is just like cold. He is not the emotional person that he would have been in season 1. And you said something about seed mode might be the explanation about why he's cold. He's not actually being cold.
Okay, I based that because immediately after the Minerva goes out of orb and has a battle with the Alliance fleet, Shin is in seed mode. And he seems to be angry and he's destroying all the things. And then when he's like, oh, hey, somebody asked, I think Luna Maria, what were you going through, right? And it's like, no, I had like clarity and stuff like that. Because there's a moment when he sort of looks back and he's like, he's about to attack the orb ships, but then it cuts the next episode. He's like, oh, we're out of there. He doesn't do anything. So that's, I guess, where I got that, which of course probably is wrong.
I mean, I would argue to your benefit, he's angry. And that's like his Goku power-up. He's angry and he goes into seed mode, Like, you killed Krillin, Super Saiyan, that sort of thing. But I don't remember him being angry while he was in seed mode. I mean, it's not the point that I was making to the comment that this is referring to, or you made that comment. My comment was that the Kira of old, crying Kira that had to deal with all these emotions, is not the Kira that's on that beach. He seems cold, distant, not characterized by everything that I would think old Kira. Nobody kicked him in the nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess spending countless months with your girlfriend on the beach can really put you in an interesting mood.
Except that all the times we see him like that, he's standing on the beach just staring out. He's not with his girlfriend. His girlfriend's asleep in bed with a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
I think Theta's characterization of Kira's intervention into this battle was pretty biased against him, given Theta's dislike of the Gundam 00 parallels. Kira did not intervene until after it was abundantly clear Orb was not listening to Kigali. After Orb tried shooting her down with missiles, Kira still did not intervene beyond shooting them down and let Kigali continue to try and convince Orb to stop, and withdrew, and his next intervention did not occur until after Orb started attacking the Minerva again, and an Orb mobile suit tried to kill Kigali by shooting a beam rifle at her, which he blocked to protect her. To say that Kira shut down Kigali immediately after she tried convincing Orb ignores all this other context that makes it clear that at this point, the Orb forces were either ignoring her or actively trying to kill her, and his only other option was to take Kigali and leave and allow the battle to happen, which runs counter to his beliefs.
All right. I kind of disagree because it very much looked like he literally says it's not working. Go back to the ship, right?
Right, and my main point about that was that he sets her up to do this with a conversation flashback to earlier, where they're basically getting on Kigali for not, doing what she should have done back at Orb.
Yeah.
So it's his pushing to get her out there that causes her to fail, and as you just said, he immediately jumps in to say this isn't going to work.
And then Wakefield comes out and it's like, if you're gonna fight, go back to the ship. I'll protect you, but you gotta either fight or go home, right? And that's when she go home. Like, and she has a shock moment when she's crying and remember her father. And I said, if she had used those words, even if they didn't believe it was her, I think it would have had a bigger impact on them. Like, remember who you are speech, basically. But
Yeah.
she didn't do that, so.
Now, granted, I might be biased because I didn't like the Gundam 00 stuff. It's one of my lower rated shows, which I guess it's one of the more popular Gundam shows, my recollection too. But obviously, if I am biased, I'm probably not going to recognize that bias. As to me, I am just, in my perspective, reading out the facts as I see them. So if you're like, well, the facts are biased, or you're not interpreting the facts right because you're biased, fair enough, but I don't see that. And apparently you jumped out here saying the same thing, so maybe now I've also got confirmation bias? I don't know.
Yeah.
The Archangel did not kill anyone during this battle, and all its attacks either prevented or an attempted attack by mobile suits or forced orb ships to pushed out of danger by using the Valiants to create a wave in the water to forcibly move the ship away.
Yes, but when we said kill, we talk about Kira's attack on the townhouse cannon.
Yeah, I guess the argument there is that when we refer to the Archangel, I don't think we said the Archangel. I think we said Kira.
Yeah, we said Kira,
I think maybe we refer to the Archangel as the organization of people in and around it.
Yeah.
Because it's basically their headquarters. So we're calling the headquarters... The headquarters has the same name as the group of people. So in that way, when they show us like 9 dead bodies and body bags as a result of the Tannhauser cannon... Yeah. So we're blaming that on the Archangel instead of saying just Kira all the time. Remember early in the season where Athrun is regarded as a hero of the previous war by Lunamaria? Everyone already knows that he deserted from Zaft in the previous war in order to fight and prevent the war from spiraling completely out of control.
Yeah. But again, they keep talking about being the croissant group.
Well, I think this is regarding my statement about how odd it is to talk to Zaft members about fighting against Zaft in the previous war. Because, again, you might have been on the right side of history, but you're currently occupying a space with people who may know people you killed.
Yeah.
I think it'd be also the height of bad writing to say everybody that knows somebody you killed is not going to... Well, they were... you defend people you know. Not even... maybe not strongly if they're really guilty of shit, but your friends and family, you don't typically just let you killed him and he might have been a bad man, but he was my bad man. That sort of thing. There's a level of awkwardness that has to be involved.
And also, I think it's more of it's a writing is as you know segment without saying the phrase as you know, right? As you know, I used to be like we didn't say that,
Well, yeah, because they're updating us on what Athrun's position in the world is, whereas I'm more referring to literally him walking into Talia's office and having that discussion, which they do offhandedly. I fought in the other war. I fought against Zaft. He says, as though, what if Talia's husband died in that fight? And they were in the Zaft side. I don't know if Talia has a pre-existing relationship, just as an example.
Yeah.
It's not awkward. Regarding Kira's current status as the current leader of his faction, despite him never having a military rank above Mirai or Waltfield, Kira is arguably the person who was most responsible for the founding of the 3-ship alliance, as it was 1, his decision to try and fight to end the war that inspired Lacus to also fight for peace, 2, his intervention in Josh A and his new perspective that helped influence the rest of the Archangel crew in deciding to fight to create a world where coexistence between coordinators and naturals is possible, and 3, his decision to fight to end the war, and why is what influenced Athrun to ultimately decide to leave Zaft. Well, Lacus was essentially the leader/spokeswoman of the Three Ships Alliance in Season 1. They didn't have a clear hierarchy, and most decisions were made after discussions between the three ships. Kira has arguably been the heart and driving force of Seed's philosophy. It makes sense for others to look to him for leadership.
In other words, he was the main character in the last show, and that's why he's still the main character in this show.
See, I would argue against this based on different shows. Like, if you take this argument and apply it to, say, Iron-Blooded Orphans, Orgo then wouldn't be the leader. Everyone would be looking to Mikasa, or I keep forgetting now, or Biscuit. Ironically, Biscuit's last name is Griffin, which caused Griffin no end of joy. But Biscuit is the heart of that one, who sometimes comes up with plans, and he's always wanting peace. He doesn't want them to keep fighting forever. But Biscuit wasn't the leader. Orga was the leader.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it doesn't fit just because you're the best fighter. The best fighter isn't always the leader unless they force themselves to be, because who's going to fight them on this? The heart of the group isn't always the best leader. Ryu wasn't the leader of White Base. Lacus isn't apparently the leader of Archangel.
The Three Ship Alliance.
Well, I'm saying the Archangel now because we're in that position where she was the heart of it before, but only... This is like saying the most inspiring person should be the leader of the ship. Well, let's hope there's no Make-A-Wish kids on the Archangel, because they're going to be calling the shots in this war.
Little Tommy, what are we going to do? Are we going to blow up the space station, or are we going to bomb the Earth? What do you think?
Such an inspiration, that kid. Look what he's going through. I'm just saying that these are points of why he's there, right? Also, your leader doesn't typically always go out to fight the fights. Someone has to stay behind and actually, I don't know, lead. When things get rough, the whole group of people. That's why Ramius is always calling the shots, because she's telling everybody else what needs to get done.
Yeah.
So, I guess in favor of the comment, they did say arguably, and we just argued about it, so it's true. I understand your frustration with Kira taking charge in the meeting, but I believe what we're supposed to take away from Kigali's demeanor and tone during the entire meeting, that her emotions are still all over the place after what happened during the battle, and she's not really thinking clearly, and she is being more reactionary than actually thinking things through, which is why Kira stepped in, and not because he's sexist. We'll address the sexism allegations more in the next episode's comments. By the way, I love I feel like I'm in the political world now. We'll address the sexism allegations later. What does "is" mean?
The problem with that is that basically that has been Kigali's default setting from the very beginning of Destiny, right? It's like, I'm confused about what we do about the alliance, the war. I'm confused about this rearmament. I'm confused about this. I'm confused about that. I'm confused about getting married. And I think I agreed with it, but I still accept the fact that my twin brother kidnapped me. I'm always confused. Confused seems to be her setting. And we're in episode now 27. Like, girl, it's time for you to unconfuse yourself.
Well, again, it's more so that Kira doesn't think that she can make choices or decisions on her own either.
Yeah.
Oh, you're about to get married to a guy I don't approve of? Kidnapping. You really should do something about Orb. Go out there. Kigali, quiet. They're not listening to you anymore. Kigali, you might go talk to Athrun about this whole thing. He might have information. Hey, I need to talk to my friend for a second. Get behind me. Literally, get behind me, woman. I don't think I'm so far off on sexism here, because he doesn't do it to any of the guys.
Yeah.
Although I guess thinking about it, how many guys has he actually put on his team?
I mean, technically,
right now,
Waltfield isn't.
Yeah, Waltfield came with Ramius. I think he brought Ramius and Waltfield came.
Yeah, and everyone else on the Archangel is.
I guess that's true. There's the marker and what's his name counterparts from 79 to now. Names I can't remember. Yeah. Arnold and I listed them in the breakdowns. I don't remember now.
Yeah. It just takes this one step from not Arthur, but what's his name? Kira, looking at her, he's like, "Are you wearing shoes in the kitchen? What the fuck?"
All right. When Kira and company say that they can't trust the plants, I think that's just colloquialism for saying the government running the plants and not literally everyone living in the plants. Like how people say the U.S. is doing something when they're referring to the actions of the U.S. government.
Yes, but also that's something that Arthur actually calls him out on. Like you're destructing the plants and Chairman Durandal. He literally says that in the. He doesn't say, "Oh, you're destructing Chairman Durandal or the council, or whatever." He understood it like you're destructing the plants, right?
I think there's also a difference when specifically they're bringing up U.S. Like the U.S. military is usually referred to as the U.S. military and not like what the U.S. is doing. I guess technically, but it's the fact that we use the U.S. as a descriptive term there versus zaft, which is the military of the plants, right? So there's not like the plant military and then the plants. It's zaft and the plants. And he chose the name that refers to the general population, not the military. I don't trust zaft means I don't trust the plant military, which is not a thing that we kind of have here for the U.S. military. I guess you could say the Navy, but yeah, every country has not every country has a Navy. Every country with a Navy calls it a Navy, so there's not a very specific term that we use for our military. So you say, I fucking hate what the U.S. is doing in Afghanistan, would be a lot different than I hate what zaft is doing in Afghanistan versus what I hate what the plants are doing in Afghanistan. It's not a term that works.
What next?
I believe it's pretty clear that Yuna is shocked and not relieved when the missiles are shot down, especially when comparing his reaction to Toka's and Yuna's eyes. As Yuna's eyes go wide and his mouth hangs open, whereas Toka's eyes shut and he breathes out in relief.
Oh, he says so. I hope, and literally, I hope the freedom saves us. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm praying that the freedom helps us, right? Yuna, on the other hand, it's like, oh,
well, Yuna is going through like I wouldn't want to say a panic attack. He is definitely dealing with different emotions than everybody else is dealing with, and a different energy level at that. I know you're not going to come to my defense with this one, but I'm just saying that if I saw someone who was ecstatic and panicked at the same time, I'm not going to think that their facial emotions are going to display the same form of relief as someone who's just calm and collected.
Yeah. Later on, he's sleeping with a body pillow for some reason.
No, he's just sleeping with. Well, yeah, technically. Sorry, I was saying not a body pillow because it's not. When you say body pillow, I think like one with like somebody drawn on it or something. He's just sleeping with a pillow that he can wrap his arms around, which is nothing bad. I've had plenty of people in my life that have to like put pillows between their legs to fall asleep for comfort.
Yeah,
that's just that to the next degree.
Yeah, but he looks like a little baby. Like it almost, he was one step away from sucking his thumb, basically.
Not going out of your way, just a level more insults on Yuna.
Yes, I have no problem doing that at all.
My comment about Kigali not taking action was not me calling for her to attack Orb, but to do something like help shoot down the missiles aimed at the Minerva, or maybe use her shield to either deflect shots or ram into an Orb mobile suit to force it off course, or to fly directly at the Orb ships while angrily shouting at them over the radio to stop. Instead of literally hovering in place and doing nothing. Doing nothing is not in Kigali's nature. She has a problem with acting rashly when she should be thinking before acting.
The problem is that she doesn't really act at all. That's the problem.
Well, because in acting, she would have to attack her compatriots. Basically, I feel like this comment is saying, hey, Kira's constantly shooting the hands and guns off of Gundams. Why not Kigali? Because the alternative is she's going to try and attack them to do that, but she's never been shown to do that before.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that her choices are attack my fellow countrymen who I'm trying to get stopped fighting, or what? And she's stuck on the or what part because she doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's elements of where what happened to Action Girl Kigali, and I don't think that's one of them that I'm questioning, because it's like, I don't think Action Girl Kigali is going to kill people she wants to save. Not on purpose, anyway. The discussion scene between Athrun, Kira, and Kigali is very frustrating because you are right that Athrun is correct that the Earth forces have been the ones who have been acting atrociously and making things worse. Kira and the others have reason to distrust Durandal, but Athrun is too stubborn to acknowledge that.
That was my first comment, and the problem is, without evidence that links that attack directly to at least someone in the power structure. It doesn't even have to be Durandal, but like someone in the power structure of the plants, then, yeah, I got attacked. I get why Kira is suspicious. I'm suspicious too. Hyper suspicious. But I also have to admit that we're one shade away from, at least from
He's racist.
Evidence.
He's racist. I said it before. He's like, the people that attacked her are coordinators. Coordinators really only come from one place.
Well, I think he's blaming the leadership more than anything else.
He said plants. Yeah. We're not going back on that again, because he said plants. The plants did it. It's like, oh man, I don't want to say my example in my head, because it's like, it's racism. It's just fucking racism. These kind of people only come from one place, so I don't trust anybody from that place now until I can figure out who actually tried to do it. I'm pointing my finger there, and that's it. It's like, how about the fact that there's also coordinators at Orb? Orb makes these mobile suit things too. I don't know.
Yeah, but those were clearly. There's
no such thing as clearly zaft mobile suits. The only thing is the information that we know that they're top of the line zaft mobile suits. I'm just saying that if you were going full on in, like, why not? It's a possibility. Everything is possible.
Yeah. The weird part was that they were suicide commandos, essentially. They're willing to blow up themselves.
I mean, they could be just more Patrick Zola faction people. Yeah. Again, they have a reason to want revenge on Lacus. She's essentially the reason for the fall of the Patrick faction. The whole discussion scene between them really hurts because I really liked Athrun and Kigali as a couple, and Destiny had to invert an arranged marriage. Sorry, I think they mean invent. No, they did say invent. Sorry, that's my brain on that one. They had to invent an arranged marriage for Kigali to get in the way of that. And while I get what the writers were trying to do by having Orb join the Earth Alliance, but my brain is just not working with me today. He leaned forwards a little bit. That ought to fix it. But the execution was poorly done, given we still don't know if Kigali even has the power to have Orb lead the Alliance, or if she would need the agreement of the other ministers. Hell, we don't know if she agreed to the joining because of Syrian's manipulations, or if it was done over her objection. Athrun doesn't seem willing to really consider Kira and Kigali's point of view in this conversation, and fails to even consider the fact that him leaving when he did could have left Kigali more vulnerable to manipulation, since Kira couldn't be bothered to actually involve himself in Kigali's life until it was too late.
I mean, I think they trusted that she knew what she was doing, and they had things to do as well, right? I guess. But yeah, she was vulnerable. But it seemed that even when Athrun was there, Juno was like, "Oh yeah, thank you for your service, bye," and he was like, "Okay," and he left. He didn't stick around. It's like, "No, I'm a bodyguard, bitch. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm not gonna leave her side. You know what's gonna try to kill her?"
Well, that was Alex Dino.
And who is Alex
famous
Dino?
Las Vegas card shark Alex Dino, who's not going to stick around for this.
Yeah, I guess so.
Theta, do you really believe Kira and the others have no justifiable reason for being suspicious of Durandal? Pointing me out, you're the Durandal hater. Okay, whatever. You are correct. It is possible for someone else to be behind the attempted assassination on Lacus, but that does not mean that it isn't possible for Durandal to be the one behind the assassination attempt, and Durandal has the most obvious motive for wanting Lacus gone from their perspective. Also, the Zala faction were using Djinns, the oldest kind of mobile suit Zaft possessed, during the battle on the remains of Janus 7. But the fact the assassins had what Waltfield told us was a new model that's just been rolled off the assembly line means it would be significantly harder for any rogue Zaft elements to get their hands on them. Sorry, I'm laughing at this already. Without being discovered than much older machines like Djinns, making it far more likely that the assassins were not rogue elements and were taking orders from someone in the current plant's government. I was laughing because the indication that stealing mobile suits from Zaft is something that's hard to do. Literally 2 seasons have started with people stealing mobile suits from Zaft. It's literally, if I was watching a Ryan George pitch meeting sketch, it would be a I can't remember now. All of a sudden, barely an inconvenience.
Well, it's this season starts with people stealing mobile suits from Zaft.
Well, I'm just, okay.
First season,
yeah, the Zaft stealing mobile suits from. Apparently, it's really easy. That's all I'm saying. So it's laughable to me that this season started with the theft of mobile suits, and they're saying it's hard to steal mobile suits. I don't know. You're the one who's suspicious of Durandal all the time. I guess I'm getting the finger here for not being so suspicious.
No, I agree with him. Yeah, I'm on his side. He's basically said what I said.
Yeah, I know.
But the thing is, they also corrected for the possibility otherwise, right? That there's not enough evidence. That's what I just said like a minute ago. So while that's my trend, and I think that's what's going to happen, that we're going to find some evidence eventually. The same thing. If no evidence is shown, is like, well, we didn't have any evidence, right? I gotta go with what I'm seeing, right? There's a difference in what I want to see happen, like Juna dying in a fire, and what it's really happened. Yuna not dying in a fire. So there you go.
While this is never explicitly discussed, I believe what happened at the extended lab was that. Sorry, just scanning ahead, making sure there's no spoilers, because that's the sentence that starts a spoiler, it feels like.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe what happened at the extended lab was that the Earth forces planned to destroy all evidence of what happened there, which would include any remaining children, and the children resolved to prevent that, and both sides wiped each other out. While normally that would be unreasonable, remember these children are being made into weapons whose sole purpose was to fight, and were stronger than normal humans as a result.
I mean, they do mention a rebellion. I think I think it's the opposite. The rebellion happened, and they would have destroyed the lab to secure it. But
here's the thing: they say it's never explicitly discussed. I'm pretty sure it was that they had set up the lab to explode, and they had to disarm all the explosives that were there.
Yeah, I think it was Captain Gladys, who say, "Oh yeah, no, there was a rebellion." I think the order of operations is what we're. Well, no,
I don't think there's no reason to discuss order of operations, because again, they rigged the place to explode. Doesn't seem like they did that during a rebellion, where everyone's literally stabbing each other and like dudes hanging from the wall with spears.
It was a fail-safe system, right? If something went wrong, they want to blow up the facility, but they didn't get a chance to do so.
No, I read it more as that they were preparing to destroy the facility. That this wasn't a failsafe. This was something that they were getting ready to do. Possibly the whole mother thing comes into play. They're like, oh, you destroy the place and you'll kill mother if you do that. And then, blah, blah, blah. It could be the whole thing backfired on them.
I think it's the opposite. I think that the place was always set to as a failsafe, like, oh, if things, we got to scrub the evidence kind of situation, right? And it's like, and at some point, the rebellion happened, and they couldn't. They failed to blow it up.
Atherin's assumption that the Gaia may have come to the facility to destroy it is not an unreasonable one. Remember, the facility was already rigged to blow, but the Zaft soldiers managed to disarm everything, so he already knew that the total destruction of the facility was the Earth Force's goal. Plus, if they intended to retake the facility, sending a single mobile suit is extremely reckless unless that suit is on a suicide mission, where its destruction would be amplified to the extent necessary to destroy most, if not all, of the facility, and if it had such additional explosive material, then destroying the Gaia instead of disabling it could trigger that material and cause a significant explosion that could hurt nearby zaft soldiers who were not in the Minerva. Sorry, really long sentences.
I mean, we discussed that. I actually said that, yeah, it was a possibility, but it's one of several possibilities, right?
That seems really unlikely.
But not impossible.
Well, yeah, I've spent my whole thing about throwing out all my crazy theories as if nothing is impossible.
Mm-hmm.
People act against their own self-interests all the time, so considering what the motivations of a person are, if they do something that seems wildly unpredictable to them, is just, this is the one time they're acting against their own self-interest for something that they believe in, and we don't know what their beliefs are just yet. All right, well, next comment. Benner756 from the Patreon, from the episode The Promise. Nose for this episode. That's what they said. Nose for this episode. It's interesting to note how narrow-minded Shin can get when it comes to someone he cares about. Stella is responsible for Heine's death and numerous other zaft soldiers, but none of these thoughts have crossed his mind since learning that she was the pilot of the Gaia. All he cares about is her well-being, and while it would normally be a good thing to be forgiving, the idea of forgiving her for what she's done hasn't crossed his mind.
I mean, there's a little bit of contest in the fact that he was very angry at what Blue Cosmos was doing, and then he literally comes from a situation where there's a lab and they were experimenting on children, and then he is told, more or less, well, it's more confirmation than anything else of how he's doing, right? That the plot says, hey, by the way, these people have been experimented upon, have been messed with, and even probably their minds have been messed with. So yeah, I can see him being single-minded in the, I gotta save the girl that I'm hot for, because he already saved her life once. But at the same time, it's like, and also the fact that he has memories of his family, especially his sister, dead as well. I mean, ultimately, Kira has the same motivation that Shin has the same motivation that Kira had in the first season, to protect, right? That's what makes him potentially the hero. And so I don't see that as that strange.
I mean, I already mentioned it earlier in my notes, the flashback to his dead sister in informing us what his motivation is in regards to Stella. The extended sole purpose is to exist is to... Sorry, I think I read that weirdly. The extended sole purpose is to exist is to fight. Sorry, that is what it says. Sometimes I just read it as is. It doesn't make sense to me. And this facility exists solely for making the children there the best weapons possible. While the extended in Destiny don't seem to be as strong as the druggies from Season 1, they appear far more stable in terms of personality and their ability to cooperate and work together, except for the trigger word issue.
Yeah. I mean, I literally said that when Yara was complaining. It's like, oh, well, Blue Cosmos says that they're against genetic manipulation, but they're doing this. It's like, yeah, because the real issue is not the genetic manipulation. It's a control issue. They had no control. They lost control, had no control over coordinators. They're afraid of the coordinators because they can't control them. It's the whole AI.
What they need is some Ketracel White.
If the coordinators have some Ketracel White or command words, yeah, of course they would have.
I think command words are the worst one because they already proved it with Owl. You can set yourself off with your own command word. Yeah,
I didn't say that you would have some safeguard, right? Even a weak one like that, which is
Well, I mean, really, if you're only if you're only creating them to fight and no other reason, cut their tongues out. That way they can't say their own command words. Fuck themselves up. You don't care. Literally, just feed them with a mush. Like, take their lower jaw off, put a little thing in there so that you feed them. Like, if you don't care about them as people at all, right? Remove the human parts of them that can do anything.
Oh, you want them to communicate with each other and coordinate, right?
Do you?
I mean, that's why they're...
You're erasing their memories all the goddamn time, so they're not, like, keeping any battlefield experience or anything. It seems like one-and-done soldiers. What was the movie? The guys, they go to Vietnam, and then they, like, die.
Universal Soldier.
Universal Soldier, yeah. Essentially that. Those guys didn't need to talk to each other. Preferably just send one out. Which feels like what's going on here. The zaft doctors don't know how much tranquilizer to safely give Stella consistently because of how different her body chemistry is as a result of the procedures conducted on her and the drugs in her system, so hooking her up to an IV drip with drugs to keep her docile would kill her. No?
Yeah.
Giving her an overdose of stuff that... Yeah, because you can test stuff out before you put her on an IV drip. Also, not all pain medication will kill you straight up. I'm pretty sure the doctor could see, oh, she's having an adverse effect to this. I will either stop this completely or give her an injection of something which will counteract. It's not going to immediately kill her, and I think more so you want her to prevent her doing damage to herself. And the fact that the straps aren't doing it because she's blood playing everywhere from ripping her own hands open.
Hands.
She's not biting. She can't get her hands to her mouth to fight. She's clawing into her own hands.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So yeah, no, you're wrong. Not you, the commenter. I think this episode puts to rest Theta's Kira might be sexist assertion, as he doesn't want Lacus to leave and believes it's too dangerous for her. You reading that out loud, you might want to reread that to yourself. But he listens to her and helps her, and even when he wants to go with her to protect her, she talks him out of going to make sure he's there to protect Kigali and the Archangel. If Kira was sexist, he wouldn't care what Lacus said and would have done what he wanted or thought was best.
So he listens to his girlfriend. Yeah, well, he knows in which side of the bed he has to sleep in.
The fact is that she told him not to come, and he came anyway. And then demanded he go, and then she's like, no, take care of your sister. And which is, what's the thought process? Yeah, you're right. My sister is a weak woman that needs to be taken care of. I'm just saying, there's plenty of ways to frame this.
He mentions two women. He mentioned two women, Murray and Kigali. You had to protect them both and the Archangel. He didn't say Wakefield. He didn't say anybody else. It's like, oh, you got to protect Murray and Kigali.
Wallfield is on the thing with Lacus, so...
I know, but there's other people...
Because you remember, Wallfield even says, don't worry, I'll carry on your wishes and protect her with my life if need be. Because, helpless women, what you gonna do? Not sexist at all. By the way, do we want to go back to how we've nerfed Kigali into the ground and she's not the heroine that she was before?
Yeah.
But I guess it's more of a writer thing, because Kira has nothing to do with the writing of the show. Although he just pushed Kira into those positions and then pulls her back to stand behind him. Kira in Season 1 talks a couple of times after getting the freedom, how there sometimes are times where it's necessary to fight. What he is against is war and the spiral of hatred that can result from killing others. Kira felt it was necessary to fight the Atlantic Federation to defend Orb in Season 1, and never supported Orb surrendering and giving up its principles for the sake of avoiding war.
Yeah. I'm failing to see the point here.
Yeah, sorry, there's a part of me that will say, don't make truisms part of your comment, or we'll be here all day. Yeah, that's the thing that happened.
Yeah.
Regarding Durandal being well-intentioned, even if he is manipulating the world towards a good end, even if Durandal intends to manipulate the world to what he believes is necessary to prevent war in the future, that doesn't mean that his end goal is actually what is best for the world or even good for it.
I agree with that.
You'd have to know what his goal was to be able to make that assertion. True. If it literally creates a utopia on Earth, and you are not willing to let that happen because you're going to give up your authority to someone else, I feel like you're the bad guy.
I think not. Because...
Well, we've already had this discussion between the two of us. You are the bad guy here. You would... literally, you would rather not... Sorry, the real world examples coming into my head are horrible.
I would live in an imperfect world than a would-be perfect world for everyone but a few people.
Sorry, I didn't know if you were being talked to. I hear a voice behind you. So.
Oh, yeah, somebody was talking. Damn it, why isn't my noise blocking working today for some reason? Somebody was talking behind me. Sorry about that. This is going to be a very shitty episode to edit.
I mean, I can't do anything about the voice behind you. This isn't one of those things where I'm going to be on here for like 5 hours trying to figure out how to audio edit. When it's another voice, I can't do anything about another voice. It's a voice of voice.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this thing. The argument isn't a perfect world for some and not for others. The idea is a perfect world. Because it very much seems like if he is trying to manipulate a world, utopia, maybe not a utopia, but maybe a world without war, that he's doing it for everybody. He's not just doing it for Zaft, because you can't do it for just Zaft. Because if you only do it for Zaft, you make Zaft a peaceful nation, and then another nation's going to attack you. You have to make sure everyone's peaceful. So, the argument here is, how long are you willing to give up your personal freedom and choice to ensure that a peaceful world exists? And the idea isn't forever. It's for how long it takes for this world to come into being. So it's like, are you willing to give up your freedom for a month, for a year, to ensure that from now on? It's the supposition of the argument that I'm making, maybe not the supposition of the show. Enter me into the world of the hypothesis that I'm throwing out, not the one that the show might be doing, because we don't know what the show is doing.
The problem is that once you set up that situation, you have to continue in that. Otherwise, it's not sustainable, because the very thing that creates a thing would be needed to sustain a thing.
No, not really. I believe the example we mentioned before was Watchmen, essentially. You created a target for fear. You don't have to sustain the target for fear. All you had to do was create the... No, not Watchmen. Yeah. They didn't create more giant squids. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's just the end of the story. But the problem is what happens when that fear fades, or someone else redirect that fear.
Well, the intent would be that you've created a society that when the fear fades, you are in that position now where everybody is acting together.
Yeah, but the problem is the motivation was fear. Once the fear fades, if you don't have a substituting motivation, which we don't have an example of.
Well, it's not a substituting motivation. It's the absence of the initial factor which caused everybody to be antagonistic towards one another to begin with. We all came together to fight this fight. Now we're one unified world against an enemy threat. Now there's no enemy threat anymore. We have no reason we have no reason to fall back on our old antagonisms either, because it might be so far forgotten.
Yeah, there's no reason to maintain unification either. It was like, the threat's over, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah, you're just assuming that people are going to break apart for no reason. Like, it'd be like if the United States abolished statehood, right? We just became one country, one voting body, etc., without any states. Why would you just assume that the states would come back?
I don't think anybody would accept that to begin with.
Or well, I'm saying
there will be no people.
The supposition is that it happens, right? It's imagination. Just imagine.
Yeah, but under what conditions would that abolition happen? If, for example, you're inducing people to have that abolition based on fear, right? And then the fear subsides somehow, or you lose control of that factor because you have to keep using fear. Other people use fear like, it just worked to do this. Why don't we use the same fears or similar fears to do something else? Then it's the thing that makes you can break you. And something like a gigantic lie, like massive deception and or fear they're not positive building blocks for a better world.
Sometimes all you need, though, is the initial kicker, and that other things can fall into place after that. If you can't get your foot in the door to create utopia, then you're never going to create it. Sometimes you have to have people act against their own best interests in their own self-interests, and fear is a self-interest motivator.
The problem with utopia is that literally the word utopia. You know what utopia means, right?
Well, I know that utopia is differently defined for different people. So there's no general utopia that everyone falls under.
No. I'm talking about the form. I'm talking about the word itself. Do you know what the meaning of utopia is?
I did, but apparently I've forgotten right now. So, all right, you have the whiteboard ready? You can pull it off to the side because you're taking us back to class as always, and you're always doing this.
It's simple. No such place.
It doesn't mean anything.
In the book that was
sure. I mean, I'm just saying it doesn't mean anything because the word means no such place. So we'll fucking call it Eden then. It doesn't matter. It's just a name. I'm using a colloquialism that we all know to mean a good place to be, where nobody suffers and everyone's provided for.
I think it's doing bad things for good reasons. Eventually, just ends up with it's a whole argument of the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah, except that hell in this case is also a place you want to be.
Well, that you don't know it's hell until you get there.
Well, I'm pretty sure that hell has a lot of very descriptive things that are happening, which will inform you well before you ever get there. That place looks real fun. There sure seems to be a lot of whipping noises, though. Just gonna keep on wandering down this road that seems to be a lot of dead bodies, too. Oh, is that? Did my toe into the lake, and now I forgot who I am.
Yeah. Let's continue.
Given Theta's support for Durandal due to believing it's okay for him to manipulate the world if it leads to a better world, I'm surprised he hasn't extended the same level of support for Imaya Kiritsugu and his methods, since Kiritsugu intends to permanently end all of the bloodshed among mankind using the Holy Grail, which would create a truly peaceful world. Is it because Kiritsugu's methods are distasteful, or is there something more to it? You do know. You're watching the show with me.
Yeah, but they're asking to you, what do you think? I would say no in both cases. So
I don't remember having a problem with Kiritsugu or anything. Have I mentioned anything about his methods?
I think I have. I don't know if you have.
No, sorry, I don't remember saying anything. I remember bringing up to the fact that he was like trying to take down a hotel filled with people, but I mean, I don't remember saying anything. I don't remember saying much about fate at all, really. So,
well, there you go. That question remains unanswered then.
Well, I mean, the element here is that they're invoking the Holy Grail, which is like, Kiritsugu is going to make a genie's wish for the world to be peaceful. Why are you against that? And it's like, I don't remember saying anything about fucking genie's wishes. I don't think Stella is smart enough to pretend to know Shin in order to plan an escape. Of the 3 extended this season, she is the most simple-minded and even has trouble speaking complete sentences. I believe the show is trying to communicate that Stella does remember Shin despite having her memories erased before.
Yeah, but we don't know how she has been programmed either. Because she's got programmed for combat. She also might have protocols for escape. Right? She might not even know about them. It's like, oh, they activate it. It's like, boom, I gotta get out of here. Right? It's a possibility.
I've never thought Stella was dumb. I mean, I did think Stella was dumb when she fell off a cliff and almost drowned. That was just dumb.
Yeah.
That's just like
she seems to be in her own world. Yeah. She seems to be in her own world basically most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I also haven't noticed that she has a hard time making complete senses. Like last couple of episodes she has, but she's going through some shit the last couple of episodes too.
He barely speaks anyway.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that she's having a hard time making sense. It just means that she doesn't have a lot to talk about.
She makes complete sense when she wants to kill Chin, even though she didn't know it was Chin, but that's when she makes complete sentences.
I don't know. I think it's a bit out there just to call her dumb because she doesn't talk that much.
Empty head, no thoughts.
Well, speaking of that, I think it's about time we had finally gotten into the episode.
But before we get started,
Make sure that you hit the like button.
Hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
on top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
Unfiltered.
Uncensored.
And uncut.
as well as some early access stuff,
You can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
こちらパープルワンイエロー22ベータに発光信号を確認これより向かうブラボー了解おそらくそれだろうハイジャックされたと連絡のあったシャトルはここで乗り捨てかやってくれるな船内を確認する
Told you.
You told me what?
That it wouldn't make sense for them to try to.
You seem to
Wow.
think I disagreed with you about something.
Oh.
I think what you meant to say is I said it, that you told me.
現在グラス号隊が専任で捜索を行っておりますが、未だ
He's not happy.
よりにもよってラクスクラインを語ってシャトルを奪うとは大胆なこと
Oh, you couldn't believe that it was her?
救出したシャトルのパイロットたちも基地のモノラも本当にそっくりだったと。お声まで。
ともかく早く
Well,
見つけ出してくれた
now we know what DaCosta's been up to this whole
連合の仕業か
time.
どうかはまだわからんがどこの誰だろうがそんなことをする理由は一つだろう
Oh, he's
彼女の姿
keeping
を
the
使っての
pretense that,
プラン
that,
と
that
国
it's
内が
a.
混乱だ
は、
そんな風に利用されてはあの優しいラクスがどれほど悲しむことか
はい。
連中が行動を起こす前変な騒ぎになる前に取り押さえたい頼むぞ
は、心得ました。
So it just shows that the Seagull faction is still around.
だが奴らが離れたというのは幸いかラクス・クラインそしてキラ・ヤマト
Okay, I mean, not much of a read on that though. It's weird that they had a ship already in orbit to switch to. Like, was that can't be the
It looks like
Dominion?
a giant. Was that a Dominion? Because it kind of looked
I
like
said
a
it
like
can't
a
be the
mobile
Dominion.
suit.
Dominion got destroyed, unless they
Yeah, it
rebuilt
looks like a
it.
mobile suit.
No, it looks like another Archangel to me.
Hmm.
I mean, I only saw like the foot of it, but the foot of it is like what make. But it's also filled with zaft officers, so.
Yeah.
But the fact is that it looks like the Seagull faction again because that's who helped them steal everything else last time. Because that
Yeah.
was DaCosta. Apparently, the man who's content to be this show's Dren. Well, he's been Waltfield's second in command the entire time, even after he died.
Yeah. Yeah. More effective than Dren, I think.
Arguable.
I mean, not only is he still alive, he helped the three ship alliance. So
Well, I think, let's see. Dren dies, what, episode 40?
yeah,
39, something like that? Technically,
he's
this
just- he
is,
was-
what episode are we on? 27? So, okay, well,
yeah, but he was in the first season, by the way. So,
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how many episodes that would be in.
Mm.
I don't know. Dren actually helped in the fight. DaCosta has really helped Athrun escape before. That's it.
そら。なんの。
Well, we had basketball in Origin. We had to have basketball in Destiny, I guess.
だが失敗にそういつまでも寛大なわけでもない。
は
今回のエクステンデッドの損失もまあ仕方がないさ。戦闘となれば敵も必死だ。そうそう君の思った通りにはいかん。
We're gonna send you another one. Unless Gibril is a extended.
目的は達せられなければならないのだよ。すべての命令は必要だから出ているのだ。
遊びでやっているわけではない。
ええその
Oh,
こと
I
は
like
十分
Durandal, who just saw us playing
分かっているという
chess.
のならさっさとやり遂げてくれないかね。言われた通りのこと。でないとこちらの計画も皆来る。
Okay, new Gundam.
あのミネルヴァは今や正義の味方のザフト軍だなどと反連合勢力に祭り上げられヒーローのようになってしまっているじゃないか。
まったくコーディネーターどもの船だというのに。
それもこれも奴らが勝ち続けるからだろう。
そうですかね
見 衆は愚かなものさ。
先のことなどまるで考えもせずに、今自分たちに都合の良いものばかりを考え
Feels like the arguments we have about the whole free will thing.
なぜああも簡単に騙されるのか。あのコーディネーター
Looks like the Minerva's going down.
我らナチュラルに本気で手
Or
を差し伸べ
he's
る
just
ことなどあるはず
re-looping
も
old
ないだろう。
video on his screens all the time.
どうせまたすぐに手を返される。だからあの船は困るんだよ。危険なのだ。これ以上のさばられては。今度こそ撃てよネオ。そのためのお前たちだということを忘れるな。
ええ、肝に銘じて。
That's going to be hard to do, considering that ship is filled with main characters.
申し訳ありませんでした。
いいのよ。騒ぎばか
Feels
り
like Neo's gotten the Romba Raw
私も
treatment.
とてもそんな状況じゃなかったもの。悪かったわね。スパイみたいな。
Told you, it was official.
いえ、
Yeah.
艦長もフェイスというお立場ですので、そのあたりのことは理解しているつもりです。でもできましたら少し質問をお許しいただけますでしょうか。
How do you get your hair to go like literally horizontal?
いいわよ。
Sideways. Yeah.
答えられるものには答えましょう。
ありがとうございます。アスラン・ザラが先の戦争終盤ではザフトを脱走し、
Oh, you're right to the same
旧軍を
point.
脱走したアークエンジェルと共に両軍と戦ったというのはすでに知られている話です。
It's an as you know conversation.
本人もそのことを隠そうとはしないわ。
しかしそのことも承知の上でデュランデル議長自らが副隊を認めフェイスとされたということも聞いています。
ええ。
ですが今回のことはそんな彼に未だ何かの嫌疑があるということなのでしょうか。私たちはフェイスであること、また議長にも特に信任されている方ということでその指示にも
What are
従
you
って
up
い
to,
ます。
Ray? Did you reprogram the computer like I thought you
そう
did?
いうことではないわ、ルナマリア。あなたがそう思ってしまうのも無理はないけど、今回に
I don't think Durando gave those
目
orders.
的はおそらくアークエンジェルのことだけよ。彼が実に真面目で正義感あふれる良い人間だということは私も疑ってないわ。スパイであるとか裏切るとかそういうことはないでしょ。そんな風には誰も思ってないでしょうし。
I have no doubt Atherin's a spy, is not a spy. You, on the other hand, who I made into a spy.
確かに前の対戦の時にはラクスクラインと共に暴走する両軍と戦って戦争を止めた船だけど、でも今はオーブが連合の陣営に入ろうとしたら突然現れて国家元首をさらい、そして先日のあれでしょ。
はい。
何を考えて何をしようとしているのか全くわからない。どうしたって今知りたいのはそれでしょ。
はい。
アスランも
Second question, why do all the other women have to wear skirts, but you wear pants?
でも彼はまだあの船のクルーのことを信じているわ。
And service.
本当は戦いたくはないんでしょう。だからそういうことだと
Hey,
思って
remember the
おいてもらいたい
flashbacks to the beach? We're not
Yeah,
done
let's do
yet.
that again. Yeah.
でしたら私も
とにかくご苦労様。
Just had flashbacks to the beach, and also let's look at the pictures he took while they were at the beach.
はい。
モニターしていた内容もこの部屋を出たら忘れてしまってちょうだい。
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen.
じゃあラクスクラインは
何？まだ何か？
今プラントにいるラクスは何なの？そしてなんで
Well, he knows she's a fake.
コーディネーターに殺されそうになるの？
ルナマリア、どうしたの？
いえ、何でもありません。
Oh, she didn't tell him about that part.
ご指示通りにいたします。すみま
I
せん。
assume it's on the record, though. She has the information of the thing that she recorded, and that conversation was part of the
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah.
So even if she doesn't say anything, it's on record. And that's when I invented the flux capacitor.
再チェックのデータ。
待ってください。今。
ダメだ。酸素マスクを。
ステラどうしたんですか一体？
She's coming down from the drugs.
どうもこうも私にだってわからんよ。
That or whatever the bed thing does more than just erase their memories. Like maybe it's a vital thing that they need. Like a Borg generation pod or something.
何か特殊な措置を施さないと身体機能を維持できないようでも。
Ah, what did I say?
それが何なのか。なぜ
That's how you do it. I didn't say, see, I told you. Because that would make no sense.
そんなステラ
こういった薬の研究に関しては我々よりナチュラルの方がはるかに進んでるからな。まったく。
ステラ
あの子もこのまま
Okay, some more Ray stuff. Weirdly telling us
あの研究
nothing.
所のデータと一緒に運んでこいって。
しかしなんだか具合が良くないとも医師の方から聞いてますし。
それも報告したけど、ならばなおのこと設備の良い機関がと言われてしまったの。
ああ、はい。
Randall wants to crack at her.
Well, I mean, it makes sense to get her into a better equipped place, but also, it's a fucking warship. It's not the best carry you can get.
それで本当にうまくいきますか。そもそもその情報の信頼度はどれくらいなのです。網を張るのは良いのですが、ミネルヴァがもしも。
おいおいおい、ここまで来てそんなことを言い出されても困るな。当てずっぽうで軍を動かすような真似を誰がするか。ミネルヴァは間違いなくこのルートを通ってジブラルタルに向かうさ。出港ももう間もなくだ。そういうことは大佐と僕でもうちゃんと確認済みなんだから、君たちはこっから先のことを考えてくれればいいんだよ。
Is that the same guy from behind the fence before?
Yeah, no. We said, what's Ray's doing? And now we have this information. Could Ray be brainwashed?
厳しい作戦ではありますが、だが
So I'm just laughing because of all the many theories I put out there.
Yeah, I know. Where are they getting that information? Why would somebody inside the ship has to be fitting that
Literally, the guy who was spelling doodads a second ago was also spying on them from behind the fence at the previous location. Would have been able to witness them leaving the port. You're just as bad as Kira.
では頼む。今度はあの奇妙な船は現れないと思いますが、万が一そのようなことになっても大丈夫ですね。あれは敵だとあの代表と名乗る人物の偽物とおっしゃいましたな、ユーナ様は。
This is a weird tactic from Neo, by the way. Neo, who just got chewed out about having to be successful, is like still delegating downhill to a guy who doesn't have any expertise.
我らにとっても敵でしかない。そうだな、戸高一さ。だから貴様も撃った。
Fired on me, she told me to.
はい。戸高一さ。では、そういうことで。
Meanwhile, at flooded Rome, I guess, or Atlantis. Do you think Archangel found proof of Atlantis?
It was just some sunken ruins in the
middle of the Atlantic.
No, I don't think they're in the Atlantic. I think they're Mediterranean.
Based on what?
On the fact that they're going to Gibraltar from the Bosphorus. That's the. Oh, hey, it's that's.
They're going friggin' nowhere is where they're going. As per my note.
Minerva, I mean.
ミリアリア。
あ、ともかくまたよろしくね。
おや、嬉しいぜ、ジョーちゃん。
By the way, where the fuck is Sai? Where did Sai go?
やはりまたミネルヴァを。
ええ、確証はないですが、ターミナルもそう考えるのが妥当だろうと。
ミネルヴァがジブラルタルへ向かうと読んでの布石か。連合も躍起になってますね。
どうしたんです？
ミリアリアさん、
お久しぶりです。
元気？エルスマンとは？
振っちゃった。
あ、
They brought that up before.
暗号電文です。
Yeah.
Was somebody, I think Atherin might have mentioned where they saw Durka and it was like a weird look.
これで決ま
Are we gonna have to replay the same battle again?
クレタでもう一度ミネルヴァとぶつかるわ。
Yeah, Mediterranean during Crete. Hey,
which is also, you
Macross.
know, just more proof that they didn't go back to Orb.
11時の方向です。
Well, I mean, you're sitting there. What do you mean Orb forces are out here? Ah, they didn't fucking go to Orb like I told them to.
始まるぞ。どうした？あ、いや、なんかここ。前方に。
Clearly seems to be designed for 3 Gundams. I wonder why that is.
護衛艦3。
例の地球軍空母は？
確認できません。
索敵現に急いで。オーブ艦だけなんてことはないはずよ。
はい。
ブリッジ遮蔽。コンディションレッド発令。
はい。コンディションレッド発令。コンディションレッド発令。パイロットは搭乗機にて待機せよ。繰り返す。パイロットは搭乗機にて待機せよ。
I wish they would do something with the lowering of the bridge thing. You know, like show us the upper deck getting hit or something. Or, you know, they come out of combat, they raise the bridge back up, and oh god, this room is all fucked up. You know, do something with it. Can you imagine every time the Enterprise got into a fight and they had to go down to the battle bridge? But nothing ever happened to the regular bridge? You had to wonder why the fuck you keep going to the battle bridge?
面舵30、東に進路を取る。
インパルス、セイバー。
Easter is months away, ma'am.
目標、照射程まであと40。
40 what?
モビルスーツの発進はまだです。よし、勝った。発揮弾のシャワーをたっぷりとお見舞いしてやれ。王術、発揮弾に
If we saw them loading up before.
砲撃、来ます。
モビルスーツ発進停止。回避しつつ迎撃。
Hey, I get what I want sometimes. Something happened to that bridge. It literally just did the thing I was asking for.
自己鍛造弾のシャワーだ。
ダメージコントロール。面舵さらに10。
9時の方向にさらにオーブ艦数3。よし、行くぞ。
2時方向上空にオーブ軍村雨9。
シンとアスランを出して。トリスタン・イゾルデ、照準左舷敵艦軍。
はい。
まだあの空母がいるはずよ。索敵急げ。
Like, it seems to be pretty effective, but it didn't seem to have done any actual damage, other than whatever it's actually smoking.
ステラ、だが今日こそはあの船を撃つ。スティングオークへカオス発進する。
R2だ。アビス出るよ。新アスカ。
At least in this aspect of their minds being wiped, they no longer remember her trigger work. I mean, for any reason they meet again, unless they randomly say die, it does seem like it'd be heavy in their vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
They really did build themselves a way to like eat up time if they need to. And I'm not talking about another flashback to the beach. Same episode. Couple more launches. This episode could just be right over now.
行きましょう。ラクスも言ってただろ。まず決める。
そしてやり通す。それが何かを成す時の唯一の方法ですわ。きっと。
キラ。
I was spying on you in the bath.
行かなくちゃ。そうだろ。
アークエンジェル、発進準備を開始します。
どいて。あなたには他にやることがあるでしょ。ここには私が座る。
ミリアリア。
So are they going to interfere in this battle, or they're going to go back to war? They're going to interfere in this battle.
せっかく。世界もみんなも好きだから写真を撮りたいと思ったんだけど。
Just not that one guy.
全部危ないんだもの。
I dumped him.
だから守るの。私も。
ありがとう。
Also, if they're down there, he's got this submersible Gundam. Why did you not see him? No scans, nothing?
Yeah, they're intervening in this battle, I guess. Oh no, they're not.
カガリユラーサストライクレーズ出るぞ。キラヤマトフリーダム行きます。
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Gundam 00. Where we just show up to fights to fight them till they stop fighting.
Yeah.
Not a lot
That
of
seems to be
thoughts,
now
huh?
the formula. No, really. I mean, nothing much happens.
See, well,
except
now
they
he has green
do the
hair.
same-
It seemed like white hair last time I saw it, but you see him right there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe that is
seems like
maybe that is Sting.
Mm-hmm.
So never mind, that is 6 people. So I still think there's going to be 2 mysterious extendeds.
Yeah.
Do remember you have to talk over this.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking that basically they're repeating the same thing that happened before, right? That's what they're doing. Just a
Assumedly,
repeat
well,
cap-
here's the thing: is the first time they showed up, it was a shock.
Yeah, but this time we know that they're coming, so.
Well, we know that they're coming, but it's like,
Yeah.
what are they going to do? They're obviously not going to fire on orb forces.
Attack directly the Earth forces?
How? We don't know where their carrier is. Apparently, it's not showing up on scanning.
再びぶつかるオーブとミネルヴァ。言葉も思いも放火の前ではただの幻か。譲れの思いは色を分け、時は結末へと向けてただ
Oh,
針を
there you
刻
go.
む。すべてをかけてもと託す願いの前にかがりは。次回機動戦士ガンダムシードデスティニー。残る命、散る命。混迷の空を避け、村雨。
Well, goodbye, Tadaka, I guess.
Oops.
Well, I mean, he seems like he's getting the Dren funeral. Not Dren, God, what's his name for the first season? One of the reasons I hate Lacus. She got him killed.
Who killed?
No, who was his name? You're not really good at filling the dead air today, are you?
I mean, that was a bad joke. I'm just recovering from it.
Frederick. AIDS.
Yeah, that had.
Well, he goes down, and basically his whole entire bridge is on fire, and everyone gives him the salute. But it's because of Lacus that he dies.
Why
He's the
did
Dren
Lacus
of
do-
Seed.
Oh.
Oh, because she commands their ships to go directly through him. Like,
oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
space is a 3D environment. Could have gone any direction. Go right for the ships where your character, my favorite character, is on.
Well, I mean, they got the same thing. If you bypass him, he just shoots you in the ass. So yeah, you got to destroy the ship. So
Okay, so you are advocating for killing people.
I'm advocating for winning battles.
Oh, so you're advocating for battles then?
No, I'm advocating that if you're in a battle, you better win it.
So you're advocating against peaceful solutions.
Okay, you're in the middle of a battle. What kind of peaceful solution would there be at that moment?
It's not up for me. I'm neither the writer of the show. I'm neither a negotiator in real life. I'm not a politician. I'm literally in no position to come up with these ideas. That's not for me to say. At the same time, I can advocate for peaceful solutions to problems. It's up to you to figure them out as a member of the fight.
Well, the problem in there is that they decided to fight to stop the annihilation of humanity. And that guy was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
What are you talking about? No, he wasn't at that fight. He doesn't make it that far. He gets to, like, what was it, episode 40? That's well before Patrick Zala pulls out super weapons. No one's nuking each other. Well, no one's nuking each other past Janus 7. So, this was literally just, let's move out of here. Go through him.
Oh, either that or they couldn't escape.
Space is three-dimensional. Go up.
Yeah.
Go down.
And the other side, you go up, the other guy matches your movements. I mean, it's like, yeah, space is three-dimensional. That means everybody can move three-dimensionally. Just because you move in one area, it's like, oh, they moved that way. Damn it. See what I'm, especially when you have long-range weapons, it's like, can we move a ship to intercept that?
Who throws out scenarios left and right. There's nothing that said they would have followed them. You're just adding that to it. Remember that the Earth forces were also there fighting. They may have fought the Earth forces. Instead of chasing after the Three Planets Alliance. The Three Ship Alliance.
Alliance, yeah. Nah, I think it was necessary. But anyway, yeah, this episode feels like a repeat. Literally. Like except for the Stella thing, which is a little bit of, oh, okay. And I told you what the report was. Okay, you could have handed me the report. That's it, right?
No, she didn't tell her what the report was.
I mean, handed over the report. You could have just debriefed her. It's like, I saw this, I saw this. I was like, okay, fine.
I mean, doesn't matter. All of that time wasn't spent on the report. It was spent asking a question. She asked one question, and it took like 7 minutes.
That's it. That's all. And that was just a return to, well, not really return. It was a recap of stuff that happened in the first season, right? Which, again, was another, as you know,
not even. It was a recap of the beach again.
No, they actually talked. We saw images of them fighting, in the last battle in that season. So, yeah.
Well, I would say probably equal parts. Because they're talking about Atherin.
Well, the only important thing was really the whole thing with Lacus, right? That literally Durandal was saying, oh, there's a fake Lacus. You son of a bitch. You know it's a real Lacus. And you're lying to people here, but hey, go you. And that there is, in fact, other people that she would hook up, which was what I said, they would have to change ships, otherwise they would have been captured. They'll like, oh, there's no Klein faction. Well, apparently there is still remnants of the Klein faction.
I never said there was no Klein faction. I'm just saying, given the silence now, that I don't know. It feels kind of a letdown, this episode, because we get the whole facility, the extendeds, what they're about. There's a lot to talk about there. And we haven't paid off anything from that. And I assume that, I don't know, that maybe we're given 50 episodes and we got to pad some time out because that's what feels it's happening.
Yeah, this feels like a repeat mostly.
I mean, how many times do we flash back to Stella dancing on a cliff before she falls off? How many times are we going to flash back to the beach? Yeah, I was just saying. We're flashing back to season 1 stuff now. How much filled time do we need? Do you get paid less if you don't do 50 episodes? Like, maybe you guys should have... I don't know. The animators get overworked. I'm not going to say they should get paid less. That's just a bad call. But I'm not saying pay less. I'm saying I was about to say they should take a pay cut to make a shorter thing. Don't keep going back, but those people need money too. I'm not gonna shit on them for this. It just, I don't know. You said the most important thing, and I was thinking to myself before you got there what I was gonna guess the most important thing was, and then I couldn't think of anything. I don't think anything from this episode is particularly important.
Yeah.
It doesn't answer any of the questions I posed in the thought section, and it doesn't raise any new questions for me. That's why I don't like episodes that are just fights, or even the ones that lead up to fights that don't introduce anything new. It's like, this was a lead up to a fight episode. Next episode is going to be a fight episode. Fight episodes are only good for me. Obviously, there's people that just enjoy watching the fights, and that's cool if you like it, but I need more.
Yeah.
So if something doesn't change the status quo, like if the Minerva doesn't sink, if a character doesn't die, if a relationship doesn't get changed, like, oh, Athrun, you're now my enemy, like something. If something doesn't change the status quo in an appreciable way, it's a waste of an episode.
Yeah. It seems to be some kind of clash between the Savior and the Freedom, but we'll see what happens.
Cool. You know what I got a lot of in the first season?
A clash between Kira and
Athrun, yes. Literally, most of the show. Cool, they're doing it again? I mean, again, I've said this a lot, and before you were reacting with me, I'd love a Gundam show that had no Gundams in it. I don't know, I'm not attracted to the combat, I'm attracted to the politics. Like, I could go for a Gundam episode 1. Or maybe episode 3. I want Gundam the Senate, I guess is what I'm looking for here. I want the political back and forth. I want like a West Wing or something. I want to know what they're talking about in the back rooms, and they're plotting and planning, and how one group is going to act over the other. I want everything, and I want them to walk by a screen, and I want the screen to be showing like the most awesome Gundam fight you'll ever see, and they just keep walking past it. You know, just to put a little salt in the wound of everyone who does like the Gundam fights. Gundam fights are cool only when there's a stake, and I don't feel like anything's at stake here. Maybe like not unless they introduced Haw again. Just kill her. like where's where's Sai? That's my one question I brought up this episode, but I've been thinking it the whole thing. What the fuck happened to Sai?
Oh, didn't they break up? No, Dirka. I think they keep asking about Dirka, not Sai.
No, I'm asking about Sai. I was like, they break up? Well, I don't think they broke up because one of them's dead. Because I'm talking about Sai and not Dirka.
So who's supposed to she hook up with?
Who
are
you
keep
talking
asking
about?
her about it, and Hall. It's like, oh, what happened to her? It's like, oh, we broke
Dirka.
up. Dirka, yeah.
Dirka was the part of the Crescent team that killed her boyfriend in the jet last season, and then I guess they got together at some point. Yeah, well, he's not the one who killed him. He even says, I didn't do it. I saw who did, though.
That's weird.
Why?
Oh, isn't he supposed to be one of the two guys that was bodyguard for Athrun?
Yes.
Right? He's a tall one.
Dirka and Yazek. Certainly would not describe anybody in the show as
that
tall.
Was weird.
They all seem weirdly relatively the same size.
Taller than you.
My problem is I have no zero reference to this guy is 6 feet tall, so I can say who everybody else is around them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm still wondering where the hell Sai is at.
I don't know. And I don't care, really. Because I don't know who this character is.
You don't. What do you mean you don't know? You don't know who Sai is? Flay's old boyfriend.
No.
The one that was getting cucked by Kira. The one who Kira like jammed his arm behind his back. He got punched on Artemis.
Yeah.
He's tried almost to steal not the Freedom. No, I guess it was Freedom's first one. He almost stole the Gundam, but he was no good as a pilot. So it like kind of falls down as he's trying to take it.
Yeah, I didn't see that in the movie, so I don't remember that part of the movie. So yeah.
Well, because again, he was Flay's original fiance, but then Flay's like, no, it was an arranged marriage. I don't give a shit anymore that my dad's dead. He's the one who was talking to an empty bunk.
Yeah, he is the what's his name, the Cameron of Seed, right?
I guess it's not inaccurate.
Yeah.
But he was also bridge crew. He's a friend of everybody from the very beginning.
Well, I guess not. I guess not to Kira anymore.
No, actually, because he comes back. He's one of my examples of how everyone has to suck Kira off. So I don't like it. So he's like literally Kira took your fiance, cucked you, and then you're speaking good about him.
He left him
to abuse Kira emotionally.
Oh well, yeah, that's on her.
Yeah, but no,
you should be.
You're clearly you're forgetting the element. You're forgetting the element again of Sai trying to have a conversation with Flay. Flay runs up to Kira. Kira says, "Can't you see you're not wanted?" And then when he turns to walk away, Sai tries to like tap him on the shoulder and say, "Come on, man, talk to me." And he arm bends Sai behind his back. Part of my nobody touches Kira unless Kira wants to be touched argument. Kira is not blameless.
No, I mean, I would say that he's defending himself, defending her. Like he doesn't get the message, and he's like, pressing the point. It's like, dude, just give it up already.
He's just trying to talk to somebody that he was going to spend his entire life with, and now won't talk to him about anything. And all of a sudden,
does she have to talk to him?
I guess the wording of "have to" is the part there. I feel like it's completely irresponsible as a person to not have a conversation.
Yeah, but you get to choose when you have a conversation.
Well, here's the element, though, is that you're defending somebody who's literally manipulating and trying to hurt people. And you're like, she doesn't have to talk to anybody. You're defending her. You're literally defending the manipulator.
No. You didn't let me finish. She doesn't have to talk to it now. But if she's that toxic, the best thing for him to do is like, fuck you, bitch, I'm out of here. He's like, no, talk to me. You're falling for the manipulation. She's such a bitch. Is like,
except that you're again viewing this from the outside angle and not as the character who's living the life.
Let me put it this way: I've been in similar situations, and the best thing to do is to walk away.
Cool, but you haven't been in Sai's shoes. You've been in a similar situation, but you haven't been ejected from your home because it blew up in space, and this is the only life you know. And now the person who's the only tie you have to that previous life is now doing something very weird and you don't understand, and then acts like you're some sort of horrible thing to get away from. You might understand the "I was in a toxic relationship once" thing. You don't have all the other stuff that I'm now apparently in Egypt, and my girlfriend won't talk to me. And apparently wasn't in the bunk when I was trying to pour my heart out to her before.
Kitty all around.
All right. Well, I guess if you're done defending the manipulator, that we can go ahead and wrap up this episode.
Okay.
Once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stone Face Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?